Good evening. Welcome back to the Horror and Metal channel. This is going to be the 12th live stream of the Morbid Hour featuring myself, Sean Erschen, and HorrorFan88. We're going to be discussing the Universal monsters. The classic black and white movies in the 30s, 40s, and 50s. And then we're going to look at the discography, each album by legendary thrash metal band Anthrax. So it's going to be a pretty cool show, I think. I'm going to go ahead and send the link to the guys so they can go ahead and come on here. And then we'll start at 6 o'clock because this one was scheduled. And I'll wait till everybody gets here and stuff. Let's get send the link to the guys and then go ahead and get started in a little bit.
Hey man, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not much. What's going up with you?
Nothing much.
Oh, cool. I just want to call and say hello, and I hope you have a good night.
You too, buddy. But sorry about that. He's a friend of mine. I knew he would be brief. That's the only reason I answered it. All right, I've sent the link to the guys, and just gonna wait for them. By the way, if you wanted to see my my Universal Classic Monsters, my full collection, all my VHS tapes, DVDs, Blu-rays, all that, check out that video, Hellhound's Universal Classic Monsters collection, because I didn't feel like digging out all my VHS tapes and beta and DVDs and all. So I did grab the Blu-rays though. This is the this box set. So yeah, I'm just gonna look at that. I didn't feel like getting all the other stuff. And then also my NECA figures. I looked at in one of the recent Loathsome Lore videos, either the last one or the one before. I looked at my Frankenstein's Monster, Wolfman, and the Mummy. So if you want to see all that, just check those videos out because I didn't feel like showing them in this one. Juno 2000's in the chat. What are your thoughts on the trailer Prey, aka Predator 5 movie that's premiering on Hulu? Oh, I haven't actually watched that yet, but I should check it out. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the. I love the first Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. The first movie is awesome. The way the Predator looked, I think, in that movie was the best. I think, and then Predator 2 is pretty good too. It's in the big city, which was instead of the jungle, which was kind of cool. And then the Alien versus Predator movies, those two aren't that good, especially Requiem. And then what was next? Predators, it was okay. And then The Predator wasn't too good. The only one I really love is the first one, honestly. But yeah, check out that trailer for Prey. Yeah, hopefully it's good. I forgot all about that. But I wanted to go see the new Jurassic World movie, Jurassic World Dominion today. I'm a huge fan of Jurassic Park, so I'll probably see it on Sunday, and I'll let you guys know what I think. Jackson Knight is in the chat. How's it going, buddy? Working tonight, huh? Fun stuff. Good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Matt Hale's in the chat. How's it going, Matt? Glad you're here. All right, so I'm just waiting for Sean Erschen and HorrorFan88. Let's see. All right, Sean says he's going to be a couple minutes late, so he's fired. Anybody know who a good replacement? I'm just kidding. No, of course not. Can never replace Sean. He's going to be a few minutes late, so that's fine. No big deal. Take your time, brother. Juno 2000. What are your thoughts on Child's Play 1, 2, and 3 getting 4K Blu-ray from Stream Factory? That's pretty cool. Hopefully they'll hopefully they'll release just Blu-ray versions as well. That'd be good. I have Child's Play 1 on a Scream Factory Blu-ray. I still don't have a 4K player. I don't know if I'm gonna get one. Link's not anytime soon because it's like, man, I've bought all these movies so much. I love those covers for the first 5 Halloween movies. It'd be cool to have, but man, I've bought those movies so much. But pretty cool though. Yeah, but yeah, Child's Play 1, 2, and 3. I've bought them on VHS and then DVD, and then I got the first one on Blu-ray. It's like, man, how many more times do I gotta buy these damn movies? But if I do get a 4K player, I will definitely get those. I'll probably just get like all my favorite movies and probably just stick to Blu-ray mostly, because the 4Ks are expensive. Cool. Me too, Matt. My good friend Amber should be coming by here soon too. She's in the chat. I mean, I know her in person. She lives in the same town as me, and we hang out and watch horror movies together all the time. And her ex-boyfriend, the father of her son, who they're still good friends. He was the lead singer in a band I was in. Awesome vocalist too. I would love for him to sing for my current band, but he's too busy now. But Bruce Campbell voicing Chucky. That would be interesting. Hey, Andy, come get some. Groovy. I'd watch that. It's playtime, he'd say something like that probably. The wisecracks and the one-liners. Yeah, Jeepers Creepers Reborn. Yeah, I keep like they've been talking about that for a while. Like, when is it gonna happen? 2024. Okay, wow. Good grief. I thought it was coming out later this year. Huh, wow. Yeah, I guess Victor Salva isn't directing it, which is good. I won't get into why, but if you know about all that, then if you know about his extracurricular activities, then you'll know that I'm not a big fan of that guy. But I do my best to separate the art from the artist, But I am glad that he's not directing this one. I think his career should just end, really. But somebody should keep the Creeper going because it's a cool character. I like those movies. Yeah, exactly.
Hello.
Welcome. How's it going, man? Pretty good.
Nice.
Ready to talk about some Universal Classic Monsters?
Oh, yeah. I definitely got some fun stuff to say when we get started.
Oh, yeah. We got a lot of movies to cover, so I mean, we don't have to give like a full review on each one, but some of them we could just keep a few sentences. That's what I'm going to do anyway, because I'm going to move through them, because we still got all Anthrax's albums to look at too. So
yeah. So I've seen quite a bit of the Universal monsters, so even the ones that I haven't seen, you guys can still talk about, and I can enjoy, because I'm not opposed to being spoiled to any of that. I can still watch it, but
I don't think there's really any hardcore spoilers like in any of the movies. Back then they didn't really have like elaborate twist endings or anything, so there probably won't really be anything to spoil per se.
Yeah.
At least that I can think of.
Oh yeah, Creator's new album came out today. I have it pre-ordered.
Yeah. I heard one song from it. It sounds pretty wicked. Yeah. I look forward to hearing more. Yeah, Creator's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Mike Pope's in the chat.
How's it going?
His ass. That never gets old. That's an inside joke from me and him did a a review on his channel for the first Gamera movie, and we're talking about how Gamera flies by spinning around like a top and shooting fire out of his arm and leg holes. It was really funny. The box set. It was, I believe, it was 120. Which I think is worth it. Money well spent. I think that's how much I paid for it. But the same that I paid for the Friday 13th Scream Factory box set.
So I believe when I popped in, you were discussing the new Child's Play 4Ks coming out.
Yeah.
Boy, I tell you, I've been collecting Scream Factory since that label started, but as long as it took me to collect, it's like, oh, now they're just going to put out 4Ks of the same thing.
I know. One thing that happens, I spent so many years building my VHS collection, and then DVD came along. It's like, oh, okay. So I bought all the movies on DVD. Then Blu-ray came out. It's like, oh, man. So I bought them all on Blu-ray. Now 4K's out. And as soon as I bought the 4Ks, they're going to come out with some other format. It's like, I feel like only hardcore collectors even buy, like me, like us, buy physical media. So it's weird that they even bothered with a new format, especially one so expensive. The general public isn't going to spend that much on them, probably. But yeah, whatever. People eat it up every time.
Yeah, I was shocked because at first I was all caught up with the Scream Factory 4Ks. I had They Live, Prince of Darkness, The Halloweens, The Howling, and then like a week later they had released like 5 more. I said, you know what? I'm fine with my Blu-rays and DVD. I'm fine with it.
Yeah. If I do get a 4K player eventually, like I said, I'm probably just gonna buy all my favorite movies, just like a handful of them, and then maybe like brand new movies that come out. But
yeah.
I still buy DVDs sometimes, hell, and VHS tapes for that matter, every once in a while. I'll go to a thrift store, I'll have them for like $1, and like, sure, why not? It's like they're nostalgic, so. But but I still buy DVDs pretty much on the regular, but mostly Blu-rays.
Yeah. When I first got my 4K setup, the first one I watched was Evil Dead 2 on 4K, and I was blown away at how clean the picture looked.
That's a great one to start with.
Yeah.
I don't even have that on Blu-ray yet. I've been meaning to.
Oh,
I keep hoping the Scream Factory is going to do it. I know there's a pretty cool Evil Dead 2 Blu-ray out there, but Juno 2000. Have you guys seen the Chucky TV show? I have. I've got it on DVD. I think I showed that in my last Loathsome Lore. Yeah, I did. Have you watched it, horror fan? Yeah,
it's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I had a few issues with it, but I guess I won't spoil it just in case some of the viewers haven't seen it. But yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty good. I can never get tired of Brad Dourif, voicing Chucky. So.
Yep.
James Moss is in the chat. How's it going, James Moss? Looks like Sean is trying to join, but it says his devices aren't connected yet. So I'm not able to add him until his mic and cam are connected. So I'll just take your time, Sean. It's no hurry. When Sean gets here, I want to show you guys something really cool I got in the mail today.
Nice.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they're trying to, they're trying to do the Stranger Things formula too. Like a lot of like movies and shows are on now. You have a bunch of kids teaming up, just like, rehashing Goonies, like for the 100th time. Yeah, I agree with Jackson Knight about that. But, I still dug it overall. It kind of evened out. I thought it started out kind of weak. Then it got better. Then it kind of started to suck again. But there was enough good moments. I think it has some really creative, really awesome kills. I thought, I know that there was only almost like one kill per episode, but that was fine. I was fine with that because it wasn't really that long.
Yeah. Plus, I'm gonna watch it for Chucky anyway. I don't really.
Right? Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Some of the movies didn't have great characters. As long as Chucky's there, as long as Brad Dourif's hearing his awesome voice. Yeah, I hope Anthrax get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That'd be cool, but I don't even take that thing seriously anyway. Really, there's a lot of great bands that aren't in there that should have been in there, and then there's ones that shouldn't. So, yeah, I saw Anthrax in concert back in 2018, and man, they put on a great show. It was awesome.
Was that the Slayer farewell tour?
Yeah. Slayer, and Testament, Behemoth, and Lamb of God was there too. And they were all great. It was probably the best show I've ever seen.
Awesome.
Yeah. Ash and Chucky, that'd be funny. Yeah, I could definitely. Yeah, just doing their wisecracks back and forth. That'd be hilarious. They're both smart asses, so they'd have some killer one-liners.
It's like I can already imagine it. Chucky jumping on Ash and Ash saying, "Knock me a little shit," and then he just throws him.
Hey, G.I. Joe, let's go. Something like that. Black Phone. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I might see it eventually. I hardly ever watch new horror movies, especially in theaters. When they come out and if they do well and I hear a lot of good things about them, I usually end up seeing them. But I might check out Black Phone.
It looks interesting.
Yeah, I think it looks pretty good. Yeah, I agree. Chucky wasn't in it very much, especially towards the beginning. But it's still cool. Cool. I like Warrant.
So people think that at the Black Phone movie, they're going to be premiering the Halloween Ends trailer or whatever.
Really?
I got to say, I'm not at that level of excitement yet for Halloween Ends. And I'm the Halloween dude. But I'm just like, when it comes out, I'll watch it.
Yeah, it'll have to just be like a teaser, I guess.
Yeah.
When's that coming out next year?
This year, this October.
Oh, that's right. I knew. Oh, okay. Well, yeah. Well, well, never mind. Yeah, it might be a full trailer then, because it's it's only like 4 months away. Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, I will say that already the marketing is better than Halloween Kills was, because there's been nothing, not even a poster.
Yeah. Halloween Kills, man, oh man, it was too much. I was like, all I want to do is see the movie now. It's like I don't want to see any more trailers or TV spots or or what do they call that? What do they call that when it's like a website and oh, my brain. Viral marketing, yeah. Viral marketing. Oh, I couldn't think of that. So many ginger jokes, so little movie. Yeah. Yeah, I hated. I didn't like the finale at all. Let's not spoil it though, just in case people haven't seen it. But yeah, I agree, Juno. That the finale sucked.
Yeah, I won't spoil this finale for anyone who's not seen it. But Stranger Things 4 gave me such a Nightmare on Elm Street vibe with Vecna and his world. And
I haven't even started it yet. My daughter has watched the whole entire show already, and I think she's just restarted it again. She's seen it. She's seen those episodes way more than I've seen. She's watched the first 3 seasons ad nauseum, and she's already watched the fourth season. She's told me a little bit about it. She said that the character Eddie I would find really cool, and so I looked up some videos of him, and yeah, he looks like somebody I would have hung out with him back in high school. But I'll watch it eventually.
Yeah.
For sure. I need to rewatch the first 3 seasons again. I barely remember the third because that's when my accident happened and that BS was going on.
It's a damn shame that Netflix pretty much quit putting out releases because I have the first 2 seasons in those like VHS collector sets.
Yeah,
And
I
it was
know they stopped doing that with season 3. Huh? Yeah, those look so cool too. I'd like to get. I was gonna get those. I even had them in my hand one day in Target. That I decided to save my money because I didn't have much money at the time. But yeah, those look so cool. They did a great job making them look like VHS tapes.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a shame they didn't do that with season 3.
Nope.
Yeah, my daughter's a huge Stranger Things fan, and she said I would definitely like the season, so I'll be checking it out soon. I can't wait for new Beavis and Butthead movie. I love that show. Love those guys. They're hilarious. I'm glad Mike Judge is doing something again. It's been a while. Paramount Plus. I'll have to get that just for that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Virus. Yeah, I might have to agree with that, unless Halloween Resurrection count. I think that's probably her worst movie. Jamie Lee Curtis.
When I saw the trailer for the new Beavis and Butthead, I had the nostalgia just flood back from like the show and Beavis and Butthead Do America, and
Yeah,
I miss that show.
yeah. I've got the entire series on DVD. Because the 3 Mike Judge collection volumes, and then the I guess the 8th season in that volume 4 didn't have all the episodes, and the episodes they did have were kind of censored and didn't have it didn't even have half of the music videos. It had maybe like a fraction of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I got the whole thing on this really awesome DVD set. I watch it a lot. And yeah, Beavis and Butthead Do America was great too. Oh yeah, Idiocracy. I forgot about that. Office Space was pretty funny too. It was like what was it? Michael. My name's Michael Bolton too. I shouldn't have to change my name. He's the one who sucks, or it's been something like that. It's been so long since I've seen it.
Yeah, I think that's the one where the guy's like, "I believe you have my stapler."
Yeah, it was hilarious. Mike Judge is a genius. He's just so funny.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, MTV should definitely do music videos. Too much reality TV BS. Worst movie I've seen this year that's come out this year, or just in general. I'm hearing bad things about Jurassic World Dominion, but I'll reserve judgment. I'm going to be seeing it Sunday. I know that's getting bad reviews, but I don't care. I'm going to keep an open mind. I haven't seen too many newer movies this year, and all the ones I did see were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor Strange 2 was awesome. Sonic 2 was pretty good. I liked it. What else was
I'm completely
Spider-Man: No Way
blanking.
Home was last year, technically. What?
I'm completely blanking. Like, I'm like, what
Yeah,
did
me
I
too.
watch?
I don't even remember what else I saw at the theater. I know there's a few more. Yeah, I don't think there was anything I didn't like, to be honest, unless I'm forgetting something really obvious for my brain. Yeah, love that movie. Yeah, I hate reality shows. Oh, I hate them so bad. I remember when they first started becoming really, really popular, and oh man, there was like so many of them. I can't stand them. They're garbage in my opinion.
Yeah. Got Jersey Shore.
I definitely can't watch stuff like that. The most I've watched of that is from the clips they showed in the 8th season of Beavis and Butthead. That was the most. That was enough Jersey Shore for me. I refuse to watch it unless Beavis and Butthead are sitting there making fun of it. So, pizza place. My favorite pizza restaurant is Pizza Hut. Obvious choice, I know, but that was the first pizza I ever had when I was a kid, and I worked there a long time ago as well. Unfortunately, the one in my town shut down
Mm.
a couple years ago, but there's still one like maybe 20 minutes away. Yeah, I love Pizza Hut. I like Papa John's too, Domino's. There's a place in my town, a restaurant that's not a chain called Melting Pot. A lot of people really like that. I'm not big on it, but it's very popular here where I live. And then there's several Italian restaurants that have really good pizza too. Roman Delight and Castiglia's and stuff like that. Pizza's
Yeah,
weird, so
I'd probably just go with Papa John's. I eat Papa John's.
yeah, I love Papa John's. I like all of it though, really. I like all pizza pretty much. There's not a whole lot of pizza I haven't liked. I'm not a big fan of Anthony's really, but at least not the one here. But I hardly eat theirs, so I don't know. They have good spaghetti, but I'm not big on their pizza. Yes, I agree, Matt. Yeah, reality TV is not real. So remember that, kids. Reality TV is not real. Yes, I agree. They should be banned, most definitely. They seem to be dying out a little bit. It seems to be fizzling out. Maybe it's just because I haven't paid as much attention now, but like they don't seem to be quite as big as they were. At least I hope not. Doesn't seem like it. I know there's several that are still in the air, but it's not as as huge as it was. Where there was like reality show on every freaking channel.
Yep. Well, I gotta say, I was pretty bummed out because I went to Best Buy not that long ago, and pretty much everything is stripped. They got like one little tiny section of movies now, and it's like, well, there that goes.
Best Buy sucks now. Yeah, they barely even have any Blu-rays anymore. It's like, man, Circuit City was so much better. I freaking love Circuit City. They had an awesome selection of movies, especially horror. Yeah, I never cared for Best Buy in the first place, and every time I go there, they have a smaller selection of movies. I'm probably never going there again. I don't have any reason to. Yeah, I can't stand Best Buy. I mean, if you want to go there for other stuff, yeah, but not for movies. I have good TVs and stuff. But
Yeah.
if you're, going DVD or Blu-ray hunting, that's not a good place to go anymore.
It's just, as a collector, it just sucks seeing physical media slowly dying away.
I know, it's depressing, but they have a brand new format with 4K, so it's weird. It's weird that they did that because I kind of feel like the future of watching movies is going to be streaming. I don't want movie theaters to go away by any means, but I feel like that's going to be like the new thing. I hope they always have some kind of physical format. I like to own a movie as a physical product that I can hold in my hand instead of just some file on a computer or whatever. To me, that's soulless. But it's convenient for streaming. Is convenient for movies that I have no desire to really own. I just want to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Walmart's movie selection's kind of really gone downhill too. Oh. I agree, Juno. 4K, yeah. Yeah, I've got I've got 5 Sega Genesis consoles. I was just playing one earlier. I was playing Pac-Mania, and and then me and my daughter were playing the 2-player mode on Miss Pac-Man for Sega Genesis. But yeah, I have 5 actual consoles, and I have one of the well, actually 2 of the remake things. One of them also plays NES games, but that one stopped working. But I do have the remake thing, little tiny mini thing, and it's got a bunch of games built in, and you can play actual cartridges, which is great. Because there's a few games I didn't have that are built in. But yeah, I freaking love Sega. I'd love for them to make some kind of comeback when it comes to consoles. I know they still make games, I guess, but Sonic and all that. But maybe they partnered with Nintendo. I'm not really sure what happened with that, but.
I had a Game Boy Color when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too. I had an original Game Boy, and that thing was like as big as a brick, and man, was it impervious to all damage. I kept it in my backpack for so many years going to school, and then then it Game Boys were like brand new at this point too. I remember when Super Mario Land first came out, and that was the first game I ever played on there. But yeah, the glass screen came off, but it still played. Like it still worked. Like it's just didn't have the glass part. You could still see the screen. But yeah, that thing went through hell. I'm not sure whatever happened to it. I know it's probably wouldn't work now wherever it is. Probably in some landfill, but yeah, Game Boy was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Land 2 and Wario Land, those games were awesome. And Donkey Kong Land and Metroid 2, Return of Samus. Was it Link's Awakening? Was that the name of the Zelda game for Game Boy? I used to play that a lot. Whatever the Zelda game was, I think it was Link's Awakening, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, she plays like a. I like to think I'm a cool dad. Trying to read, her favorite show is Stranger Things, and she likes the Flash TV show a lot too. So I think I'm doing it right.
Well, when I was a kid, our family had a game console, and I'm completely blanking on it, but it had the Friday the 13th game on it. So
NES?
It was like the cover on it was, yeah, that one.
Yeah.
That one was
the
fun.
Nintendo. Yeah, the first game system I ever played was the Atari. Atari 2600, but we just called it Atari back then. We didn't know that, it was and then I had an Atari, and then we got an NES, and I used to play that Friday the 13th game, and I think
my first one was Intellivision.
Oh, nice.
That's some old school right there.
Yeah. Well, I know my cousin had a Magnavox Odyssey, and I might have played that before.
Wow, I never even heard of that.
Before the Atari, yeah, maybe. I don't remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, we had an Atari, and then we got a NES.
It had this weird control with a circly wire and like a
that's right.
like a ball or something.
Yeah. The television, that remote thing, and then and then those things are. I never had one, but I knew of them. Those things were a pain in the neck, apparently.
Yeah.
Parenting 101. That's right.
Sorry, I'm late, guys.
That's okay. No worries. Dark Fate was okay. I liked. I don't know. There was things I really liked and things I really disliked. But I do want them to make another one. I
still haven't seen it.
Really? Oh wow! I'm a huge Terminator fan.
I didn't hear much good about it, so I didn't bother.
Probably a step up from Genesis, though. I still maintain that I think Genesis had a great first half. But then it really went downhill. I think overall, Dark Fate's probably a little more has more of a better balance, maybe. Some things I found infuriating, but overall it was good, But they'll never top or even come close to the original or T2 for that matter, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never had a 5200. Yeah, we had a 2600, and then I knew a few people who had a 5200. We never got one. We went right from the Atari 2600 to the NES pretty much when that came out.
I went to the Sega Master System.
Yeah. I was always a
Sega boy. I didn't do Nintendo.
Oh, really? Yeah, I was always a Nintendo guy, but I love Sega. We were just talking about Sega Genesis earlier. I love Sega pretty much just as much. I didn't have a Sega Genesis when it was current, but a lot of my friends did, and my cousin did. But now I have 5 Sega Genesis consoles, so I'm a huge Sega fan too. I was just playing that earlier with my daughter.
I had that first system that came with Altered Beast.
Altered Beast was awesome. I love that game. I have it over there. I love that game.
Boys from your grave.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But anyway, before we get started, if you don't mind, I would like to explain my little story with these Universal monsters, just so everybody can understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
so,
we should all do that. Yeah.
So for me, I know you guys both grew up with these films, right? You both have
yes.
that.
The ones that started it all for me.
Yeah, me on the other hand, I did not grow up with these because at a young age I was already watching the slashers and all these 70s and 80s movies, and as a kid I didn't really have an interest in watching that, and it's not like I was opposed to watching black and white. I mean, I watched Twilight Zone as a kid and loved it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But it was something that I respected and I got why people liked, but it was never my thing. But of course, I got older, and much like Hammer horror, back in the day, I would have said, that's boring too. Now I love that. So, of course, while I am not as knowledgeable on the Universal monsters as I'm sure you guys are, I remember enough. I know a lot of the classic scenes and stuff. Still haven't seen a ton of the sequels and everything, but I know I wouldn't have a lot, if any, of my favorite horror movies if these didn't leave such a groundbreaking thing on horror and cinema overall. So yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I recognize them and respect them. I just don't have that nostalgia memory with them, but I know enough.
It's cool, man. I'm glad that you respect the old classics,
Absolutely. They're the ones that started it all.
Not even some people might think it's corny or cheesy or whatever.
Yeah.
Not me. I freaking love it.
They hold up really well for me. I could watch them all the time. Yeah, that's what started it all for me. No, I haven't seen that yet. Juno, is it good? And yeah, Abbott Costello, hilarious. But anyway,
yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Don't worry. Yeah, the Universal monsters. I think Frankenstein may have possibly been the first horror movie I ever saw. I think one of them definitely. Then Dracula and all that. And, yeah, I watched them all the time. I had them all on VHS. I'd watch them every time they came on TV first. They'd come on Chiller Theater or whatever.
Yeah.
Back then, when we had satellite, we only had I don't even know, maybe 10 channels, if that. And every once in a while, one of them would be on. I'd watch them every time. And yeah, then eventually got them on VHS and watched them all the time. I would have got into horror anyway, because even before that, I loved scary stories and the paranormal. I always liked scary stuff anyway. But I would have got into horror anyway, but those definitely accelerated it. And then I eventually got into Hammer horror, and then then watched stuff like Psycho and Night of the Living Dead, and then finally the Chainsaw Massacre, Halloween, and just the 80s slasher stuff. But it all started with the Universal classic monsters.
Well, for me, it was similar to Horror Fan. Honestly, I did start with the slashers and stuff with Friday 13th and Halloween, but then I went back to I caught one of the the Wolfman. I think it was on Saturday morning or something like that. They were showing it. And I'm like, this is cool. I had, of course, I had heard about them all, but I never actually sat down and watched it. And I was like, wow, this is cool. I love this classic feel, this classic style. This is classy horror,
Absolutely.
This isn't boobs and blood kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not about the kills and the.
Well, I was always looking for the next level, And Hammer horror was definitely the next level, but I never really grew out of the Universal monsters. I never got to a point where I said, "Oh, these are too tame now," or "These are too dated." To me, I always, at least had that nostalgia factor, if nothing else.
For sure.
Yeah, I really couldn't imagine, some elaborate topless scene in Dracula, and then all kinds of blood and gore.
No way.
It wouldn't fit. That sounds pretty cool. That Cursed documentary. Yeah, I've heard about that. They talk about cursed movies like The Exorcist and The Crow and stuff. The Omen. I think that the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is also cursed as well because it sucks. So I'm not sure if that's on there or not, but it should be. It curses me every time I watch it, which is never. Abbott and Costello cartoon. Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
They also kind of they kind of parodied it on the Looney Tunes. Remember the little mouses? Like, hey,
oh
yeah, something like that. Like,
yeah.
Remember that?
They parodied a lot of horror stuff. They did like Tales from the Crypt and stuff. It was awesome. Hello, Amber.
So, you know,
glad you came.
Welcome. One of the big things for me is that, you know, once again, you'll have to excuse my bad memory with certain characters or situations, but the atmosphere and the gothic horror in these are fantastic. You know, like Dracula's castle, and he's like, "You welcome." It's just so eerie and beautifully done. That's always what I took from it. Yeah.
Very gothic and atmospheric. I love that. I love that gothic scenery. So that was my favorite thing back then. It still is. You know, just like a good, gloomy, eerie, ominous atmosphere and build up. As much as I love blood and gore, I like that sort of thing way better.
Oh yes, speaking of Dracula, like when you first see the scene with the brides, you know, man, that was so eerie.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah.
And then they're like feasting on the girl. I think Renfield's character actually.
Yeah. Very bone chilling.
And he just shows up in the window. No, get away! You know, like.
Well, we're talking about Dracula, so yeah, that's the one that pretty much started it all. That was, unless you count the 1925 Phantom of the Opera, the silent film with Lon Chaney Sr.
Yeah,
Dracula
that counts.
Yeah, I do too. I always did too, but you know, in this box set at least, and like most versions I see, Dracula is pretty much considered the first of these Universal classic monsters. And yeah, it's the one that started it all. This was, I think I saw Frankenstein first, but I saw this one really early on as well when I was a kid, and yeah, loved it. Loved Bela Lugosi as Dracula. You know, he was just great, the iconic. You know, you still see whenever somebody does a Dracula impression, they're doing Lugosi, the Hungarian accent and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's definitely the most, you know, one of the most imitated characters, and of course. Edward Van Sloan is a really good Van Helsing, but I think that the most entertaining character in the movie is Dwight Fry as Renfield. He's just a blast to watch. You know, he's so zany and over the top.
Yeah, he's like zany.
Yeah, creepy, but like really, you know, and wacky and just really, really entertaining.
He just wants to eat bugs. And
I believe.
They get spiders.
I believe that was one of the. That was one of the changes, right? Is that the fact that at the beginning it's Renfield heading to the castle and not Jonathan Harker?
Instead of Jonathan Harker, yeah.
Yes, right. They changed that.
Yeah, they took a lot of liberties from the Bram Stoker novel, but really this was actually based on the play. It had a lot more in common with the play, like Dr. Seward being Lucy's father instead of one of her suitors and stuff. Like a lot of that was taken from the play, which Bela Lugosi was in. He was in the play as
That's
well.
Right.
And apparently he didn't speak much English at all when he filmed this, and just would, you know, speak it, you know, like verbatim. Like he would just, you know, I don't know that I've heard a few people say that that's false. I'm not totally sure. I guess who knows, but that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, was it Todd Browning that directed Dracula?
I think so.
Yeah, I believe it was Todd Browning.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, he has to be the most iconic, like the most definitive Dracula. That's just
absolutely
so many people have copied that, and
yeah,
it's just what people know Dracula to be, his version of the character.
As much as I love Christopher Lee, I've got to
know,
give the edge to Bela Lugosi because he's the one that started it all. He originated the role, unless you count, Max Schreck as Count Orlok in Nosferatu. It's technically the same character, sort of.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, it's every interpretation of Dracula owes a lot to Lugosi. A lot of them have at least just a little bit in there somewhere.
Nosferatu's silent, so he didn't talk.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's a little different. So yeah, when people think of Dracula, they usually think of Lugosi.
He's got some good lines.
Yeah.
I never drink wine. That's a good line.
You're a very wise man, Mr. Van Helsing, for one who is yet to live but a single lifetime. I love that quote. That's awesome.
I love when they're in the opera and he's like, to die, to be truly dead, they must be glorious.
Yeah. So many great quotes.
Yeah,
I agree. All those movies. Well, Halloween 3 is okay, but yeah, Creepshow 3 and Return of the Horror High suck.
Shadow of the Vampire is a good movie.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe is great as he plays Max Schreck, who plays Count Orlok and who might actually be a real vampire. It's interesting. Then the 1979 Nosferatu with Klaus Kinski was good too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love Shadow of the Vampire. Juno.
The only thing that bothers me about the movie is like originally there was no music. I mean, which kind of in a way is creepy, but it could have used some music, like.
Well, I like that. I like that that soundtrack they came out with, decades later, Kronos Quartet and all that. That's pretty cool. But yeah, well, I mean, it was the first like talkie horror film, allegedly. So, there's going to be there's going to be some areas where it was the first of its kind. So I mean, there's going to be some room for improvement.
Mm-hmm.
Like the end, those like anticlimactic.
The finale is very
like bothers me.
Yeah, the finale is very anticlimactic. Van Helsing just comes in. I'm going to kill Dracula. Okay, I killed Dracula. It's like, wow, no final battle or anything. But like I said, it was like the first of its kind, So
yeah,
I know Frankenstein came out the same year. A little later, had a much more riveting climax, but but again, that came out after, so they improved on that area.
That's the only thing that drags it down.
Yeah, I love the Castlevania games. What's that?
That's the only thing that drags it down for me is the ending. Like,
yeah, I agree.
I wish they could go back and change it.
Yeah, I can't hold it against it too much, because it's the best they could do like that, I guess. Yeah, I love the Castlevania games.
I think
Castlevania 4 for the Super Nintendo is probably my favorite.
Something funny is you never see.
Oh, go ahead.
Is you never actually see Dracula bite someone,
Yeah, I know.
It's because they didn't have the effects or any kind of effects really for blood and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Or if that would just be too violent. Look, if it would just be seen as too violent back then, I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't even show his fangs at all.
Yeah, someone showed his fangs. Yeah.
Least favorite Universal monster movie. I don't know. I never cared for Son of Dracula that much. Okay, we'll get to that. I don't know. House of Dracula wasn't too good either, and I think Ghost of Frankenstein was kind of generic and by the numbers, except for the ending. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of like them all, really. Um, the Mummy's Curse also wasn't could have been better, but we'll get to that.
Mhm.
I'd have to say probably
I agree, Amber.
like a couple, like the sequels to the Creature from the Black Lagoon, maybe.
Oh yeah, Creature, Revenge of the Creature, and Creature Walks Among Us. I kind of like those for what they are, but yeah, they
Yeah.
could be better.
They're fun, I guess, but they're not great
Yeah.
movies.
Mhm.
I need to get a PS4. That Evil Dead game looks awesome. But yeah, all right. Well, anything else you guys want to say about Dracula before we get to Frankenstein, which came out later the same year, 1931.
A great
Very
way
good
to,
start.
yeah.
Love it.
It was a good franchise too. Like I
Mhm.
love Dracula's daughter,
Me too.
son of Dracula's. It's all right. It's not great.
Yeah, I love Lon Chaney Jr., but I feel like I don't know, just his performance just left a lot to be desired. I guess just because I can't help but compare it to Bela Lugosi, you know.
Mm.
Um, and plus, I mean, is he Dracula, or I mean, it's called Son of Dracula, but it kind of implies that he is Dracula
I think
somehow.
he's supposed to actually be Dracula.
Yeah,
Like,
it's weird. It's like they couldn't make up their mind. I don't know.
then House of Dracula, the John Carradine as the
Major,
Baron Latos. I
yeah,
was like, why are they calling that?
I know.
Dracula.
Yeah, yeah. He revealed he's a vampire too to Doctor Edelman. So like,
Yeah, he's gotta
why
have
is he going
this
to have a different name?
like alter ego or something.
Yeah, he had that top hat.
Yeah.
I like John Carradine, but man, he's no Bela Lugosi when it comes to Dracula.
Yeah.
And with the thing that you just like take the stake out and he's back, it's that
Yeah.
easy.
Wow, yeah. What if the steak just falls out, or just just rots away or something? It's like, damn. Texas Chainsaw Massacre game. That sounds intriguing.
Mm.
Very cool. Yeah, I need to get a PS4, but I hardly ever played modern video games. So now PS5's out, of course. So I feel like it'll just take up space. I'll hardly ever use it. I'll use it to play 4Ks, and that's about it.
Mhm.
Yes, Boris Karloff was the best.
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no denying that. Come
Sure.
on.
Frankenstein also came out in 1931, directed by James Whale, starring
Yeah.
Colin Clive as Henry Frankenstein, renamed from Victor from the Mary Shelley novel, and of course Boris Karloff as Frankenstein's monster. And Dwight Fry's in this one too, as
Yeah.
Fritz, who most people think is his name's Igor, but that's actually a different character introduced in Son of Frankenstein. Who's totally different. He's not a hunchback assistant, but we'll get to that. Yeah, Dwight Fry plays Fritz, and Edward Van Sloan is in this as well. He was also in Dracula, like I said, as Van Helsing, and he's in this one too. Yeah, great cast. Yeah, this was probably the first horror movie I saw. Definitely one of the first, and yeah, I still love it. I think it still holds up. So many iconic moments when Dr. Frankenstein first creates the monster. It's alive! It's alive! So memorable. That's been parodied and imitated countless times, probably more than all the stars in the sky. But
So awesome.
yeah, and then of course Boris Karloff is the monster. Yeah, when people think of Frankenstein's monster, they think of Boris Karloff with the the bolts and the flat head and the square shaped head, and the height and the green skin. Even though he didn't actually have green skin, but that seemed to be kind of be associated. Hell, he had greenish skin on the posters, so
Mhm.
I don't think he actually wore green makeup in the movie, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, awesome film. Absolutely love it.
Mhm.
And really enthralling, captivating climax too,
Oh yeah,
with the windmill.
it's on fire.
Yeah,
I love when he throws the Dr. Frankenstein off, and he
yeah.
he, he circles around the windmill.
It's such an obvious
Like, how did
dummy.
he survive that?
I know. Originally he didn't. He was killed, but then they tacked on that last minute ending, like which is actually another actor playing him like from afar when he's in bed, and then of course I'm glad because he returned in Bride of Frankenstein, and that was really awesome. But we'll get to that. Yeah, they censored the part where he said, "No, it's like the bee god," and they censored him throwing the girl in the lake.
Yeah.
The VHS side, the very first VHS I ever bought of it didn't have those scenes. And I think they were censored on watching on TV too. I don't know. I don't remember.
Really?
But they're on the DVD and then of course the Blu-ray.
I didn't know it was censored.
Yeah, they censored those two parts and
I was thinking it's funny, like the beginning, when you see them at the graveyard. I love it.
yeah, I
And,
know. Down, you fool!
and you see this skeleton standing up at the looks like a zombie or something.
Yeah,
Like,
I know.
why is that there?
That's weird.
The
I always thought
graveyard.
that was weird. Yeah,
It's like, is that a decoration for the cemetery?
yeah. And Edward Van Slow coming out at the beginning of the movie saying, "I think it will thrill you. It may shock you. It might even horrify you. So if you are not willing to subject your nerves to such, whatever he says, now's your chance to. Well, we warned you."
I love it.
That's funny.
And yeah, once again, the amazing gothic tone,
Yeah, it's awesome.
up in the
See you later,
castle
James.
on
Have
the
a good
hill where the laboratory is.
night. Yeah. Yes, I have seen Mary Shelley's Frankenstein from 1994 with Robert De Niro, directed by and starring Kenneth Branagh. I thought it was pretty good. I like it better than most people do, but
That's
it
not
definitely
bad.
has some issues. It's probably the closest adaptation to the novel. Though they did take a lot of liberties as well, just like Bram Stoker's Dracula from 1992 did.
I didn't like they tried to combine it with Bride of Frankenstein in one movie.
Yeah, but that didn't even happen in the novel. In the novel, Victor Frankenstein did make the monster a maid, but he never brought her to life. He ended up destroying it before because he had second thoughts, and then the Frankenstein monster killed Elizabeth. I think I haven't read that since I was in like junior high, but from what I remember, I'm pretty sure that's how it happened.
I like it better. They're seeing the transition a lot better between the original Frankenstein and the Bride, where you see
Absolutely.
the monster slowly progresses, and here he's kind of just a fish out of water. He doesn't know what's going on in the world, trying to figure things out.
Yeah. You know what scene always jarred me when I first saw it? It was the scene where he accidentally kills Marie, the little girl, because he sees that she's nice to him, and he sees that the flowers float, so he just picks her up. But then when she doesn't come up, he starts freaking out. He's like,
"Yeah." Because he has the mind of a
it's
child.
an innocent thing. He has
He has the mind of a child, essentially. He doesn't know what he's doing, and then people start fearing him, and then, but he does start killing people, and knowing what he's doing, though, especially in Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah.
And he kind of goes back and forth, innocent mind of a child to being just a straight up brutal killer. But it's probably just because the way humans treat him, they fear him and shun him.
He lashes out. Yeah,
right. Yeah, he's tired of them running away and screaming and chasing him with torches. So
who could blame him?
yeah.
I mean, what more can you say about his Boris Karloff's performance? Like,
yeah, so iconic, just so quintessential when it comes to Frankenstein. I still think he's the best monster for sure, the best Frankenstein monster.
You could just see he puts such a emotion to it, like the scene when he's looking up at the ceiling and the light coming in. He's like trying to figure it out,
Yeah.
What is that,
There was a lot of people think that when a character's silent and doesn't speak, that it'd be easy, but there was a lot more acting ability that went into that than you would think, because
yeah,
he had to play pretty much a being that was brand new to this world, and it was trying to adjust and trying to learn about his surroundings and stuff. He did a great job, I thought. His has the perfect look. The Jack Pierce makeup, which is phenomenal, just went perfectly with Boris Karloff's face. So they were just made for each other.
Awesome. It still looks awesome.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Some of the best makeup effects I've ever seen to this day.
I love that when you first see him, he does that slow thing, you see him from behind, he slowly turns around, and he's like,
just a close up, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like Dr. Frankenstein's line when he says, "One crazy man, 3 very sane spectators."
Colin Clive was awesome too. I love his Dr. Frankenstein. So him with that intense stare, those eyes, just the way he's so obsessive. I wouldn't be surprised if Jeffrey Combs took some inspiration from him when he played Herbert West.
Oh yeah, it's bound to. Yeah.
Yeah,
you had to.
Colin Clive was great. Too bad he died so young, and because that'd have been great if he could have been in all the Frankenstein movies. But he died I think a year after Bride was released.
Mm-hmm.
He was 36.
Oh really? He died that young?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Oh wow, that's too bad.
Yeah, that's why. He wasn't in any of the other ones, and that's why Basil Rathbone plays son. And we'll get to that though. See you later, Juno. Have a good night.
Mm-hmm.
The Wolfman. That's a great choice. We'll get to that for sure. Anything else you guys want to add about Frankenstein? Directed by James Whale from 1931.
It's great.
I love when what's his name, the guy that plays Renfield, his character. I know, like you said, it's not Igor. What's his name?
Yeah. Fritz.
Yeah.
Fritz. Yeah.
He's brutal with him. He lights the fire in his face and he's whoops him and I can't wait for this guy to die.
I know, right?
Dude,
the whole thing might have been his fault.
He's gonna squash you.
Yeah, it might have been his fault. He's the one that provoked the monster.
Then you hear him.
That's what you get.
Yep, you had that coming.
Yeah. Well, the next movie in the Universal Classic Monsters lineup is 1932's The Mummy, also starring Boris Karloff and Edward Van Sloan yet again.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I think that I thought that it was Dwight Fry at the beginning. The guy who says he went for a little walk and starts laughing maniacally, but that was actually Bramwell Fletcher. What a performance, you know. It is a great movie. Yeah, it's kind of similar to Dracula, but with of course, with an Egyptian theme. This one wasn't based on a novel like Dracula and Frankenstein were. This one was a brand new original story. It did kind of bear some similarities to that one Bram Stoker novel, Jewel of the. It was the same one that inspired the Hammer movie, Blood from the Mummy's Tomb. Jewel of the, not Jewel of the Nile. That's the Michael Douglas movie. Jewel of the Seven Stars. I don't know,
Yeah, something like that.
something like that. But I always forget the name of that for some reason. But yeah, it had some similarities to that. But yeah, basically, Imhotep was an Egyptian high priest who was executed for practicing, evil magic and stuff. And then all these years later, he's resurrected as a mummy, but he only looks like this briefly at the very beginning. He has the bandaged look, but then he comes to life and becomes more human. He looks more alive, and goes under the name Ardith Bey, and then he's trying to resurrect Ankh-Senamun, his deceased former lover. So it's kind of a love story too, like he's kind of has benevolent intentions almost. That he does do several wicked things. But yeah, Boris Karloff just commands this movie. He has a great presence. The thing is, he has actual dialogue. He actually speaks in this, unlike in Frankenstein. And yeah, he's just very, very intimidating for sure. And he really makes this movie he's what makes this movie so great, I think. Yeah, I love the Mummy from 1932.
He's another one that just has that deep, commanding voice. Like,
yes.
Powerful.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Absolutely. When it comes to this movie, this is one of the ones that I kind of have more of a hazy memory with, but I still remember things. And the scene where the character starts reading the scroll of Thoth or whatever, and then he starts opening his eyes and then he moves. I just thought that was creepy, the way he points at the scroll and he went for a little walk. You should have seen his face. I always remember that.
Yeah, it's a very iconic scene. I always think it's so funny when people talk about this movie and say, "Oh, it's so cheesy. It's just a bandaged, limping, silent mummy slowly stalking people." It's like, no, that was not in this movie at all. Just a very brief scene at the very beginning.
Right.
We didn't really see him walking. We just saw the bandages, trailing off behind him. We just saw him moving in the sarcophagus.
The Hammer one's more like that.
Yeah, well, and the other Mummy movies. I kind of consider them part of the same series. They're not, they're not like direct sequels. They're not in continuity, but hell, they're included in this collection. And that featured Karis. He wasn't. Yeah, it was a different mummy. It wasn't Imhotep. It was Karis. That was the bandaged, silent, almost like a proto slasher villain. Decades before that became a thing. It's silently stalked. I thought he was creepy too, but we'll get to that. Yeah, I love the Mummy. It's a classic. Absolutely love it.
What do you think of the sequels there?
I like them. I like them a lot, especially the Mummy's Hand and the Mummy's Ghost. That has an awesome ending. Mummy's Tomb was kind of just more of the same. It was kind of just like a rehash of Mummy's Hand. And then Mummy's
was that the one with Lon Chaney when he plays him?
So Tom Tyler, the Western actor, played Karis in The Mummy's Hand. And then Lon Chaney Jr., who's unrecognizable under all the makeup and the bandages. Yeah, he actually wore a mask, I think. He played him in the other three: Mummy's Tomb, Mummy's Ghost, and Mummy's Curse. Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr. played the Mummy, the Wolfman, of course, Dracula, I guess, and the Frankenstein monster. It's pretty cool. He was just like his dad. His dad played, Lon Chaney Sr. played multiple monsters.
Yeah, how cool is that?
Yeah, it's very, very cool. So what do you think about the Mummy, Sean?
I like I didn't see all the sequels though, but yeah, the first one is great. It's classic for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. This might have been directed by James Whale too, who also did Frankenstein. I think. Oh no! It was Carl Froon. That's right. I knew that.
Oh,
I don't know why I thought it was James Whale. But I think James Whale did do the next one. Let me just look it up just to double check. Yes, James Whale did direct the next movie in the Universal Classic Monsters series, which was The Invisible Man from 1933. Yeah, this and King Kong came out the same year, 1933, and they have some of the best special effects ever for back then. Very groundbreaking. You know, King Kong, of course, had the awesome stop animation, and then this one, this was, the invisibility effects were amazing, especially for back then. And I think they still look good today. You know? But James Whale directed this, and it stars Claude Rains as the title character, Jack Griffin, who makes himself invisible using a serum. And this movie's not only kind of creepy, it's also really funny. Claude Rains has a lot of fun at the party. He kind of starts out as a annoying prankster, just like constantly sneaking up on people, just doing really funny things. But then he becomes like a little more and more twisted, as the movie goes on. He kind of starts to lose his sanity. But yeah, he's just great. Claude Rains is great in this movie, and I love The Invisible Man. Great special effects. Awesome movie. Very entertaining. When it comes to the Universal Classic Monsters, this is definitely one of the most entertaining, I'd say. It's just highly amusing.
I was think it's crazy to see him with a train, like he just killed all those people on the train.
Yeah, I know.
This is definitely somewhat of a funny movie. There's certain things that I laugh at. Like, I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but the whole "you're crazy to know who I am, aren't you?" Laughter.
Yeah. So enjoyable. So much fun.
And you got the Irish lady hamming it up, Una O'Connor.
Yes, she was also in the next.
So over the top.
She was a Bride of Frankenstein, also. Yeah. Oh wow. Oh man, was she annoying? But it was funny though.
That's perfect.
Wow. See you later, Amber. Have a good night.
Have a good one.
Thanks for coming. Trash Stash in the chat. How's it going, Trash Stash? What's
up, Trash Dash?
All right. Anything else you guys want to add about Invisible Man before we move on to the next one?
Some of the lines in this movie are just so fun. Like the scene where he looks out the window and sees the people coming after him, but he's like, "Even the moon is frightened of me," and he just goes, "Oh,
here we go, gathering nuts in May, nuts in May, nuts in May."
Yeah, it's dancing around.
One thing that's funny is, obviously, he takes his clothes off to reveal that he's invisible, so he doesn't wear clothes. But you see him when he leaves the footprints in the snow, they're shoe prints.
Yeah,
I just thought that was interesting. I don't know. Maybe he found a way to make his clothes invisible too. I don't know. I don't think so though.
Yeah, there's the cool scene where he kills the character Kemp because he swore to him he would kill him, and then the whole.
It is very hot today. Yeah. Yesterday was kind of easy, actually. Yeah, I wish you'd throw me in a lake too. Just don't need a diving board, and just have the Frankenstein monster toss you in the water.
Yeah,
Do it again. Do it again.
like the little girl.
Yeah. Do it again.
Yeah, another classic from James Whale.
Love it.
Then wasn't Vincent Price in like the sequel, The Visible Man Returns?
Yes, that was his first horror movie. Yeah, he played Jeffrey Radcliffe. Yeah, the Invisible Man was Jack Griffin. His brother Frank Griffin gave the invisibility serum to Vincent Price's character.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie too. Yeah, all of them are pretty good. But the first one's the most memorable. I haven't seen most of the sequels in several years. Yeah, there was, of course, The Invisible Man Returns and The Invisible Woman, which was more of a comedy. It was barely a horror movie. It was kind of funny, very silly. Then there's The Invisible Agent, which had Peter Lorre in a very memorable horror role, just like a Beast with Five Fingers. And then The Invisible Man's Revenge, I think it was the last one. Oh, and Abbott and Costello Meet the Invisible Man, which is really freaking funny.
That's a good one, though.
I love it. Yeah. Yeah, they're all pretty good. But yeah, Invisible Man Returns was Vincent Price's first horror film, so it's notable for that. Yeah, I think his character's name was Jeffrey Radcliffe, if I remember correctly. I haven't watched the sequels as much as the first one, though, so my memory of them isn't quite as good.
I always wish he would have been in the Abbott and Costello one, Vincent Price.
Yeah, because he was
at the end of Frankenstein.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm the Invisible Man. Yeah, he's in the boat. Yeah, and you see the cigarette. Yeah, kind of acted like he was gonna be the Invisible Man, but I guess not. You guys ready to get the next one?
Yep.
All right, now we're going to talk about my favorite Universal Classic monster movie, Bride of Frankenstein.
Nice.
Love it.
Oh yeah, this was the first movie I ever saw. That was the first one I ever saw. Was Bride of Frankenstein.
Yeah, talk about entertaining. That movie's friggin' awesome.
It is.
I think it does. I think it is better than the first one. Yeah, Colin Clive returns. I think he's even more enjoyable to watch as Henry Frankenstein. And of course, Boris Karloff returns, and now he talks. I actually has dialogue, and I love his lines too. I love dead, hate living. Yeah, awesome. Yeah, and when he comes in the door, he's like Frankenstein. Yeah, so awesome. I thought that was a great progression. That was a great idea. And Dwight Frye's in it too, as yet another assistant to Dr. Frankenstein. But I think probably the best character is Dr. Pistorius, played by Ernest Thesiger. I think he's like the quintessential evil mad scientist. He was awesome.
Yeah.
I love how he's just hanging out in the crypt of a cemetery, and then the Frankenstein monster shows up, and he's not even scared. He's just like, "Oh, sorry, I thought I was alone. Good evening." He's so cool. He was so awesome. And then, of course, he made all those little people, which is a great special effect for 1935.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still don't know how they did that, but it looked amazing. Yeah, great movie. Awesome cast, great characters. Yeah, Ellen Ankers is really annoying, but but it's funny. And yeah, it's just so awesome. James Whale directed that one too, and really outdid himself. I think it's even better.
I love his stuff with the old blind, when the monster meets the old blind man. He's like,
yes,
drink
that's right.
good,
Yeah,
smoke good. He's smoking a cigar.
Fire bad.
Yeah, I love when he says, "This is bread." He goes, "Bread, yeah." And he goes,
Yeah. Good. Yeah, that was a great scene. Very memorable.
And of course, Elsa Lanchester plays a dual role. She played the Mary Shelley in the beginning and the bride at the end.
Yeah, the bride. Yeah, one minor nitpick is I do wish that the bride character had been in it longer.
Yeah, definitely.
Or at least returned for another one. But yeah, the fact that she wasn't in it enough, and of course Una O'Connor's over the top acting are the only like minor complaints. But I think it's funny. So, but yeah, as a great character too. The bride, yeah, when that hiss, she's like, so cool. She hates
really
it.
cool look too with the hair.
Yes, so iconic. Yeah, it's like just as iconic because she was only in the movie for like what 5 minutes, and then you've seen that look done so many times. It's like damn, for such a short scene, it was just so memorable and so iconic. Yeah, the fright hair, yeah, the white streak and stuff, and the bandaged arms. Yeah, so cool.
Absolutely.
She hates me.
Yeah. We belong dead.
That's
you
awesome.
go. Yeah, it's awesome. I love that movie. I have nothing bad to say about it.
I love that scene though. When he's like, "Go, you live, you stay, you belong dead."
Yes. That's so cool. Yeah, Dr. Pretorius is awesome. He just steals every scene he's in. Yeah, everybody's great. And Colin Clive, I feel like we get to know Colin Clive even more, and now we kind of see him kind of regret, some things he's done. He's, was so determined in the first movie to create life. Now he's determined to put an end to it all and just, focus on his new life with Elizabeth, who was a different actress this time. Valerie Hobson, I think. In this one,
it's almost reversed. Like he's reluctant to get back into it.
Yeah,
but the the evil Dr. Pretorius leads him back in.
And the monster too, forcing him to make a mate for him.
Yep. But that's why I like and respect these films because I love Bride of Reanimator. That clearly is taking inspiration from this.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Most definitely.
And that's what they always do in Reanimator. Like, Dan Kane never wants to be involved, and Herbert just keeps reeling him in.
Herbert West is kind of like a modern day.
I start a new body with Meg's heart.
Yeah, he's kind of a modern day Victor Frankenstein. Herbert West.
We will create new life. Anyway, I don't want to get into that. But the makeup job once again in this movie is incredible. Like the progression on the monster. Too,
yes.
Like,
yeah, because then he kind of got damaged in the fire a little bit. Like the makeup looks a little different. So, Trash Stash, Jekyll and Hyde is actually a Paramount movie. There's the silent one in the 20s, and there's the 30s one. There's the Frederick Mark one and the Spencer Tracy one. It was Paramount. There was a Abbott and Costello meet Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie that had Boris Karloff in it also. But yeah, technically Jekyll and Hyde wasn't a Universal monster. A lot of people think it is. It should have been, but and there was a Jekyll and Hyde type character in House of Dracula, Dr. Edelman. He was a very similar character, but yeah, it definitely fits right in with the Universal monsters. But technically, a lot of times when they have a monster mash movie, like a bunch of monsters, usually there is a character like that, but technically it wasn't actually part of the Universal lineup back then.
Right, they had him in the Van Helsing movie, that classic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Hugh
Jackman.
I
saw the right. so over the top, so Hollywood. But I saw the 30s Jekyll and Hyde when I was watching all these Universal monster movies. So I always thought they kind of fit right in.
Mhm.
Anyway, all right. Anything else you guys want to say about Bride of Frankenstein? My favorite one of all.
Oh,
Another
yeah.
classic.
Probably my favorite.
Mine too, easily. All right. So then after that, yeah, it's great. He was also in. There's also Abbott Costello Meet the Killer, Boris
Yeah.
Karloff.
Mhm.
He was in, which is good. I got that on VHS. I don't think that was part of that Meet the Monsters collection DVD that I have, but that's a pretty good one too. Yeah, I'm a huge Karloff fan, of course, and Abbott Costello. So then there was the same year Bride of Frankenstein came out. There was Werewolf of London. I never really considered that part of the Wolfman series, even though it's always released. It was a Universal movie, of course. It's always released with all the Wolfman collection DVDs. I barely remember it. The werewolf makeup doesn't look nearly as good as in the Wolfman, but it's a pretty good movie. But and then in 1936, of course, there was Dracula's Daughter, which I think they kind of wanted to cash in on the success of Bride of Frankenstein. It's like, oh, well, we made a sequel to Frankenstein. Let's make a sequel to Dracula. I really like it. The only returning cast member is Edward Van Sloan as Van Helsing, renamed Von Helsing for some
Von
weird
Helsing.
reason.
For no reason.
Yeah, but it picks up right where the first one left off. Right after he staked Dracula, and then he's like arrested for it, and it shows Dracula in his coffin briefly, but it's actually not Bela Lugosi. It's just like a wax dummy or something.
It shows him, yeah.
Yeah, and then but yeah, the main vampire this time is Countess Maria Zaleska. And yeah, she's very memorable. But one thing that's different is she actually doesn't want to be a vampire. She's kind of a reluctant vampire, and she wants she's like seeking a cure, which is interesting.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, but I love Gloria Holden. I think she's great. But I think the most memorable character who steals every scene he's in is Xandor. That guy's just so like delightfully like negative. Yeah, Irving
I know he's like
Pitchell, I think is the actor. Yeah, like he's always like, that scene where she's like, oh yeah, the flapping of wings. He's like, bats. She's like, no, birds. Or whatever it was. Like, yeah, he has so many great
dead
lines.
birds.
Yeah, dead. Yeah, so many great moments.
Beautiful birds, dead birds.
Yeah, that's such a downer, but it's really cool. He had a really creepy look too.
I know he
I think he's
like Dracula almost.
Yeah, I think he's kind of the best part of the movie. I guess he was kind of supposed to be like a guardian, like a Renfield type character. I don't think he was like a vampire himself. Was he? I don't know. I think he was just like a protector because vampires always had like somebody to watch over them during the day. I think that's kind of what he was, like a Renfield
just
type
like
character.
her assistant or something.
Yeah.
Like
he's kind of in a way he's kind of like calling the shots almost.
He lured the victims in for like the blonde girl,
Mm-hmm.
Like she was ready to commit suicide and like, no, we'll take you to meet the Countess.
Yeah. Maria Zaleska.
That was a pretty sexy
very
scene.
Groundbreaking. Oh, I know, yeah. That was pretty groundbreaking for the time.
I do?
That was very innovative for 1936.
It had a sexual element there, but of course it was very tame compared to today.
Yeah. It wasn't directed by Todd Browning. It was directed by Lambert Hillier. Todd Browning didn't return to direct, but it's a pretty good movie. I like it a lot. I think it's a good sequel.
I wouldn't mind seeing a remake of that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. There's been so many different like Dracula's daughters over the years, like characters. I mean, And they always have a different name.
Yeah. But it's different enough that you could make it
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would love to see
interesting, you
that.
know?
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, Werewolf London is pretty good. Well, what do you think, horror fan?
This is actually one of the ones I haven't seen.
Oh, man,
Okay.
you gotta check it out.
I recommend it. It's definitely worth checking out. All right, let's yeah. All right, it's like 7:30, so yeah, we still got all of Anthrax's albums to get to, so I'm gonna try to get through these kind of quickly. All right, so I think we covered the Invisible Man sequels and the Mummy sequels probably enough. The next one was Son of Frankenstein, 1939. So I don't think James Whale directed that one, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, Boris Karloff returned as the Frankenstein monster. Colin Clive, like I said, had already passed away. And so this time we have Wolf Frankenstein, Dr. Henry Frankenstein's son, played by Basil Rathbone, best known for Sherlock Holmes.
Mhm.
But I think the best character is Igor, played by Bela Lugosi.
Bela
And,
Lugosi.
yeah, and he's not a hunchback assistant. He got arrested for grave robbing and I think maybe murder too. I don't know. And then they hung him and broke his neck. So he's like he doesn't have a hunchback. He has a broken neck. But now, whenever you see, there's been so many like parodies and stuff over the years, and they always use the name Igor. And it's always a hunchback assistant like Fritz. But really, I guess I'm not sure where that. I think maybe Young Frankenstein started that.
Yeah.
Marty Feldman. It's pronounced Igor. Movie's hilarious. But yeah, I think Bela Lugosi is the best part of the movie because Boris Karloff is great as the monster, but unfortunately, I feel like they kind of took a big step backward and had him be totally silent. He's a mute once again. I thought that was a bad idea. I think that's a huge point against the movie because I liked how he progressed. I like how he's talking, and Bride of Frankenstein had this awesome personality. I think that having him be mute once again was a bad idea.
I know. And he was
kind of
most of the movies in the the bed or whatever.
Yeah.
But
I
it
agree.
gets good at the end once he gets up and
Yeah.
causes havoc again.
Yeah, I like how heroic Wolf Frankenstein is. I like when he kicks him into the sulfur. That's cool. Jurassic World Dominion. Hopefully, I would hope it's better than Jurassic Park 3 and Fallen Kingdom.
I've heard some rough things about it.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, it's got to be better than those two.
So,
top the first one.
So when it comes to all of these Universal monster sequels, I've only seen Bride of Frankenstein. So it is interesting to hear what they are about and how you would recommend them. But it's just the ones I haven't really got to, like Ghost of Frankenstein or Son of Frankenstein. I haven't got to any of those.
They're probably the most interesting ones of the Frankenstein ones.
I think Frankenstein has the best franchise out of all of them because really, Dracula had Dracula's daughter, and then Son of Dracula was okay, and then all the rest are crossovers. And with the Wolfman, all the sequels are crossovers, and then which is good, which is cool, but it wasn't really like a Wolfman series. And then the Mummy series is cool too, and Invisible Man and Creature of the Black Lagoon. But I think Frankenstein is the best series when it comes to those classic Universal monster movies. He had the most standalone.
Even Ghost of Frankenstein was good. I enjoyed,
Yeah, I think it's definitely weaker than the first three.
Yeah.
Because Boris Karloff's not in it, but anyway, yeah.
But Bela Lugosi is still.
Yeah, as Igor, yeah, he's great. And then I like, Lon Chaney Jr. plays Frankenstein's monster, and he kind of reminds me of Michael Myers a little bit because he's silent, never makes a sound really, hardly, and just kind of plays him like a stone statue. He's just cold and emotionless and expressionless.
Yeah.
Yeah, not as good as Karloff, but kind of memorable nonetheless. And yeah, Igor's great. I love the ending where I guess I won't spoil it. This horror fan hasn't seen it, but let's just say something happens involving the Frankenstein monster, and he changes a little bit. I am Igor. I have the strength of 1,000 men, or 100, whatever it was.
I love Frankenstein meets the Wolfman too. That's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
me too. But yeah, Ghost of Frankenstein. It was Ludwig Frankenstein, Henry's other son, played by Cedric Hardwicke, who also plays the ghost of Henry Frankenstein. Conclave, of course, couldn't return. But yeah, before Ghost of Frankenstein, 1941, of course, is The Wolfman, which I love. That's a great movie as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I love Lon Chaney Jr., Lawrence Talbot, and Claude Rains played his father, Sir John Talbot, and yeah, great scenery, great atmosphere. There's actually isn't a shot of the full moon, weirdly enough, and then also we don't see him transform except for his legs in this one. Yeah, the gypsy lady, and Bela Lugosi plays the werewolf that bites Lawrence Talbot and turns him into a lycanthrope, which is cool. So yeah, Bela Lugosi played, the Frankenstein monster and Dracula and a werewolf. So it's kind of cool. Yeah, I love the Wolfman. Awesome movie.
I think it's funny when he's looking at the telescope at the girl across the street. I'm like,
yeah,
you peeping Tom?
yeah. Yeah, he was definitely very into the women.
Yeah.
Mike Pope is in the chat.
He was
going, Mike?
really. I love his performance. Like he's just charming.
Me too. Yeah, he's great.
Like when he tries to make a
yeah.
date with the girl, and he's like, "I'll see you at 8." No, I gotta meet with my boyfriend. Oh, okay, I'll see you at 8.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of the only movie where his whole performance isn't just like obsessing about, I'm a werewolf, you got to lock me up, I transform and eat people. This one actually see his personality, like what he was like before he became a monster, which is interesting.
Right.
He's an interesting character too, because he's like struggling, he's wrestling with his other side, his inner beast, which is something kind of different, So he was very sympathetic in that, right? Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr. is very, very likable and is very charismatic, like you said.
Mm-hmm. This movie, the atmosphere is excellent, especially like during his first kill and he's in the woods and he poke out behind the tree. Just the way the lighting hits him, and it's so cool. And I believe this is a really short movie, right? It's only like hour to hour 9 minutes or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Once again, great effects. I love the makeup effects on this one.
Yeah, it's awesome. And yeah, the like I said, the eerie atmosphere and all the scenes in the nighttime, like in the forest and stuff, and the fog. I love that first scene. Yeah, it's weird how the Bela Lugosi, I think the character's name is Bella too, is the son of the gypsy lady. Yeah. His werewolf looks like an actual wolf, like the actual animal, whereas Lon Chaney, Lawrence Talbot becomes like a half man, half wolf creature.
You see him beating them with the silver cane.
Yeah. Yeah, that was cool. Dark Throne, yeah. The Wolfman remake was okay. Benicio del Toro, I don't know. I haven't watched it since it first came out, so it's not fresh in my mind. I'm glad that we finally saw. That was the first time we saw the actual Lawrence Talbot Wolfman character, since the Universal movies, really, which is cool.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. Then there's Invisible Agent and Mummy's Tomb. Then Frankenstein meets the Wolfman, which is the first of the. I think it was like the first movie crossover, and it's the one that started the the original cinematic universe. Love Frankenstein meets the Wolfman. Yeah, there it is. Awesome movie. Yeah, Bela Lugosi plays the Frankenstein monster this time, and of course, Lon Chaney Jr. comes back as Lawrence Talbot, the Wolfman. He couldn't play both, since he played Frankenstein monster in Ghost of Frankenstein. Weird continuity because Frankenstein's monster burned up in the burning house at the end of Ghost, and then in this one, he's Lawrence Talbot finds him frozen in ice.
Frozen in ice, yeah.
Like, that something that's about as opposite as you can get. But whatever, still a great movie. Really, the Frankenstein monster kind of lies dormant for a lot of the movie. But isn't kind of interesting. And originally, Bela Lugosi was going to talk, because he still the monster still had, I guess, Igor's brain in his body, and when he talked at the end of Ghost, it was Bela Lugosi's voice, so he's supposed to have dialogue this time, but they said it sounded too ridiculous or something, so they cut it out. And you can actually see his lips moving in certain scenes. But it would have been interesting as he talked, and then of course he was still blind from the end of Ghost, and then that's why he has his arms outstretched. So a lot of times when people do a Frankenstein's monster impression, they have their arms stretched out like this. And that comes from the Bela Lugosi version seen in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very,
like
very
when he first runs rampant through the streets, he's like,
yeah. I love the scene where Lawrence Talbot turns into a werewolf again at the end, and then they start fighting.
Great stuff. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And one thing, and like Lon Chaney's so good in like all these movies consistently,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. He was the only actor to play Lawrence Talbot. Multiple people played Frankenstein monster and Dracula, and
yeah, that's true. He always came back, like even
Yeah.
for the Abbott and Costello.
yeah. So, but yeah, great movie. So next there was the remake of the 1925 silent movie Phantom of the Opera with Lon Chaney Sr. There was the 1943 Phantom of the Opera with Claude Rains from The Invisible Man and from The Wolf Man. This is the only one of these movies that's in color. It's in full color.
I
Yeah,
never saw that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I recommend it. The makeup isn't quite as memorable as Lon Chaney Sr.'s face. He looked awesome in the 1925 movie. But still a pretty good movie. He wears the mask a lot more than he did in that one. And then when it does show his face, it's not quite as good, but still a really good movie. And like I said, it's unique in that it's in full color. It's kind of different. Originally, Son of Frankenstein was going to be in color as well, but they said the makeup on Boris Karloff didn't look right in color, so it's filmed in black and white. But yeah, I like the Phantom of the Opera, the 1940s version. It's pretty good. I'd say check it out. Oh yeah, then there was Son of Dracula with Lon Chaney Jr. as Alucard. It's okay. I don't know. He's great, but he's no Bela Lugosi when it comes to that. He was a little too, I don't know. He wasn't like intimidating enough. Bela Lugosi was more badass, and Lon Chaney Jr. was kind of, I don't know. I don't blame him though. He's still awesome, but it's all right. But yeah, then there was Invisible Man's Revenge and Mummy's Ghost. And then there was House of Frankenstein in 1944. And I love that movie. That might be my third favorite after the first two because, it was the first movie to have Frankenstein's monster, the Wolfman, and Dracula.
And Boris Karloff as a different character.
Yes. As a mad scientist. Which is interesting. It's kind of like the other, he kind of did the opposite, which is cool. Lon Chaney Jr. returns as Lawrence Talbot, the Wolfman, of course, still seeking a cure for his affliction. They're found frozen. He's found frozen in the ice with the Frankenstein monster since I saw them battling when the dam flooded and washed them away. This time the monster's played by Glenn Strange, who's the only other actor other than Karloff to play him 3 consecutive times. Dracula's played by John Carradine, who was already established as no Bela Lugosi. So yeah, pretty cool how all three monsters and Boris Karloff is a mad scientist, Dr. Neiman. He's awesome. I think he's the best part of the movie. Yeah. So they end up Well, he resurrects Dracula early on. He pulls the stake out of the bones, then he regenerates, becomes John Carradine, complete with the top hat and everything, and then
Mustache.
yeah. But then Dracula's killed off, burned up in the sunlight before the Frankenstein monster and the Wolfman are even introduced. And then the Frankenstein monster is pretty much just like strapped to a table the whole movie. And it's only after the Wolfman's shot and killed with a silver bullet that the monster comes alive. So really, the Universal kind of had a hard time juggling all three characters, all three monsters. We didn't really see much of them at the same time, unfortunately, until having Costello. But we'll get to that. But other than that, I love House of Frankenstein. I think it's very entertaining. I love Dr. Neiman, played by Boris Karloff. I like Daniel, his hunchback assistant. I think there's the gypsy girl he falls in love with. She was kind of a bitch, though. She rejected him just because, Larry, Lawrence Talbot, who she has a crush on just because he's better looking, Yeah, very, very thrilling climax. Yeah, I just love House of Frankenstein. That was one of my favorites as a kid and still is. It's just awesome.
I definitely have to check out all these crossovers with these because the closest I've ever gotten to seeing these classic monsters in one movie is the Monster Squad.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
Me and my daughter watched that the other day for like the 10th time.
It's so fun. I love it.
It is a lot of fun. That's why you should check it out.
So you haven't seen House of Frankenstein, horror fan?
I have not.
What do you think of it, Sean?
I love it. It's so
too.
much fun, seeing all the monsters together.
Yeah, it's great.
And I liked the story. It was fun, Love seeing Lon Chaney come back,
Yeah, it's a blast. Definitely one of the most entertaining. So that same year, in 1944, we had The Mummy's Curse, which was the final film in the Mummy series. It's great to see Lon Chaney Jr. once again as Karras, bandaged up, limping after people, and Ananka was kind of a cool character, but I think that was kind of the weakest in the Mummy series. And then the next year, 1945, was House of Dracula, which is weird because Dracula and the Wolfman both show up. It never explained how Dracula survived being burned up in the sunlight, and never explained how the Wolfman survived being shot with a silver bullet. Except the Frankenstein monster is exactly where we left him in the last one. He sank in the quicksand at the end of House of Frankenstein, and in this one we see him like in a cave, like underneath where he sank. It's like, oh, okay, so the Frankenstein monster has perfect continuity, but what the other two don't.
Someone
Someone
paid attention, but the other people didn't.
I know, it's weird. Yeah, Lon Chaney Jr. is really awesome in this movie. Though he's got a mustache this time, and he kind of saves the day. He kind of becomes the hero of the movie, which is cool. But they still had a hard time juggling all three monsters. They come a little closer this time than in House of Frankenstein, but yeah, the Dracula's still killed off way too early. But he does. He visits Dr. Edelman, who's the main villain of the movie. He becomes the new monster, kind of a Jekyll Hyde type character. Mm-hmm. Dracula ends up doing a blood transfusion with him. And it looks like Dr. Edelman's going to become some kind of vampire, but he actually becomes a Jekyll and Hyde type character. Like I said earlier, he transforms into like a monstrous figure and kills people every once in a while. I think they should explain that better. But yeah, Dracula's still killed off early on, and then the Frankenstein monster's not in it a whole lot. Oh no, House of Dracula is okay, but I think it probably is my least favorite of all the Frankenstein movies. It is cool to see all three monsters in a movie again, and I do like Dr. Edelman. But Lon Chaney Jr. was great as kind of, like I said, kind of the hero this time. But overall, it's just, I don't know, it just kind of I think it's just kind of, the formula kind of got stale by this point. I think they kind of ran out of ideas. It feels a little phoned in.
True.
But I still like it for what it is, I don't think any of these movies are god-awful by any means. Some are just way better than others. And if I had to pick a least favorite, I guess it probably would be House of Dracula.
I still have fun with it, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Kind of was becoming stale
yeah.
by then.
That bat looked really, really fake though.
Yeah,
He still had the, he had the
that
John
made
Kerry
the
still had the
scars.
top
That
hat.
made the scars of Dracula look good.
I know. Yeah, that's a really bad looking bat. It would have been so. House of Dracula and House of Frankenstein would have been so much better with Bela Lugosi, and actually having the character throughout the whole movie instead of being killed off. So
I know.
early
Why
on.
didn't they have him survive till the end so they could
Yeah, I never
all fight?
understood that.
Like come on.
Yeah, it was almost like another movie, like a short film before the main feature. It's kind of what it feels like. Just like an appetizer. It's like, okay, yeah, there's Dracula. Now let's get to the other monsters. But Dr. Yilmaz is a cool villain. I like how the Wolfman finally gets cured and then saves the day.
Yeah, that is cool.
Or does he?
So we have a House of Frankenstein and a House of Dracula.
Mm-hmm.
But no House of the Wolfman.
So
Or House of the Creature from the Black Lagoon. Make it happen, Universal.
Yeah.
There's going to be a House of Reanimator, but that unfortunately never happened either.
never happened. Yeah.
Zombified presidents and stuff in the White
That
House.
would have been awesome.
I know. Damn it.
Yeah, you didn't talk about.
I'll get to that. I'm going in order.
Okay.
It didn't come out until 54 because we still got to talk about Abbott and Costello. All right, so next there was She-Wolf in London from 1946. Have you guys seen that one?
I haven't seen that one.
I haven't seen it in years. I don't think I haven't watched this Blu-ray yet. It's on this Wolfman collection. But I haven't seen it in years. I remember barely anything about it. It's a female werewolf this time, obviously. I don't remember much about it. So let's go ahead and move on. So then there was Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Hell yeah.
Yes, yeah, I've got that too, but I didn't dig any of my DVDs out. I just got the Blu-rays.
Amazing.
Love it. One of my favorite horror comedies ever. So time, yeah. So this time we have Frankenstein's monster, played again by Glenn Strange, reprising his role from the two House films. The Wolfman, once again, of course, played by Lon Chaney Jr. And Dracula, played by Bela Lugosi, his second and final time playing Dracula. Yes! I really wish he could have been in the two House films. But another great thing about this movie is we see all three monsters interacting a lot. And I kind of like how the Frankenstein monster was like Dracula's servant. He was kind of like his pawn, carrying out his deeds. I think that was kind of a cool concept. And the Frankenstein monster talks too, which is cool.
Like, yes, master.
Yeah. And I like Glenn Strange. I think it was a pretty good monster.
Yeah.
And
he had a lot more to do in this than the other two combined. Like,
yeah, much more. Just lying on a freaking table the whole movie. But yeah, this one, he's in it a lot and has a lot of dialogue. And they juggled all three monsters perfectly. And of course, Abbott and Costello are in it, and it's freaking hilarious. It's like, okay, one guy going, and then another guy going, oh.
Yeah. That's great.
But my brain.
The other guy's going.
Check.
Yeah, when he's on Dracula's coffin, reading through the story, and it keeps creeping.
That's so freaking funny.
Yeah, I've watched this movie, been a long time, but I remember it being pretty damn funny.
That's right.
From this point, the only other one I've seen is Creature from the Black Lagoon, but we can still talk about it because it's fun to discuss, and I don't mind spoilers, so we can still talk about all these. Have a good time.
Absolutely. I love Abbott Costello Meet Frankenstein. The movie's a riot. And it's the only one that really balanced all three monsters, and gave them all did them all properly, I think.
And Bella kills it again.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah, it was made it came out in 48. So it's like 17 years after the first Dracula in 1931, and yeah, he still does an amazing job.
I was like, I'll take care of our fat friend.
Yeah. Then he turns into a bat. It's an actual cartoon.
I know.
It's the same animators that did the opening credits, the cartoon, the dancing skeletons and stuff. That's cool. Yeah, but yeah, Bella's great. It's funny he actually has a reflection in that one scene. You can see his reflection in the mirror. And it's almost like they did that intentionally because it's like it focuses on it for so long. It's like that was weird. Nobody caught that. Because there's the scene in the first one where he didn't have a reflection. Van Helsing's little mirror. Yeah, great movie. Yeah, Bela Lugosi never did play Dracula again. They did play a very similar character in Return of the Vampire and Mark of the Vampire. Those are both pretty good too. Return of the Vampire, I think especially, is really good. But I do wish he'd actually played Dracula more. But anyway, yeah. Then there was Abbott Costello Meet the Invisible Man. That's a really funny movie too, especially the boxing scene where the Invisible Man helps him win. And yeah, like you said, Vincent Price shows up briefly as the Invisible Man in a cameo at the end of ANC Meet Frankenstein, and it would have been cool if he would reprise his role for when they met the Invisible Man. But yeah, it's a really funny movie. Also, I love it. But yeah, then in 1954, there was what I consider the last of the Universal classic monsters, A Creature from the Black Lagoon. I love the underwater theme.
Mm-hmm.
I think what was his name, Rico Browning, or the actor who played the creature when he's swimming underwater was the same actor in all three movies, but it's a different actor who played him on land. Yeah, there's Creature of the Black Lagoon, the original from 1954, awesome movie. And the two sequels, Revenge of the Creature, and The Creature Walks Among Us, where he develops lungs and is on land for a long time. He even wears clothes.
Yeah, he wears clothes.
It's an interesting concept, to say the least. Yeah, I really like. I love The Creature of the Black Lagoon. I watched these a lot too when I was a kid. I think this was my second favorite franchise of the Universal monsters, next to Frankenstein, when I was young. It's such a cool monster,
What amazing design.
Man. Yeah, like the amphibious, half man, half fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, the costume is just phenomenal.
Awesome.
I love it.
Very entertaining film. The stuff with the gill man in the water and how it's kind of like he's stalking underwater. Like it'll show her swimming and then it'll pan down and you see him like, duh. I'm like, ooh.
Yeah, he liked the ladies.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. This is like that whole kind of tale of the monster falling in love with like the pretty girl and
the
tail.
Just like in King Kong.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah, really cool underwater shots and stuff too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. You said that it was the same actor underwater in all of them, but not above water.
Mm-hmm. Right. Love it. Yeah, then the only other movie aside from those is Abbott and Costello Meet the Mummy, which is also really, really funny. And this time they renamed the mummy. It's not Caris, it's Clarice.
Clarice.
I think it's really funny when I think it's Costello who's beating the mummy with a shovel, but it turns out it's actually not the mummy. It's actually what's his name, and then the bandages. That's a really funny scene. But yeah, it's really, really funny too. It's almost just as good as ANC Meet Frankenstein and Meet the Invisible Man.
Sure.
Yeah, like I said earlier, they also met Jekyll and Hyde with Boris Karloff, and then that movie ANC Meet the Killer Boris Karloff. So it was a great idea to pair them with the classic monsters.
The whole that goes to is kind of in the horror elements or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely. So are we all in agreement that Bride of Frankenstein is the best Universal classic monster movie?
I actually prefer the original Frankenstein
Really?
personally, but
That's cool. It's close. It's very close. It's very close. I only like Bride a little better by a hair. It's very close, but
I guess I think Bride had a little more camp value.
yeah, it does. Basically, Dr. Pretorius, Colin Clive having, kind of a different motivation than Borkov talking as the monster, and of course the riveting ending and the Bride character herself are why I prefer it slightly over the original. But you can't go wrong with either one. Like I said, it's very close.
It's awesome, no question about it. It's one of the greatest sequels of all time, and most people would say that, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's your guys' favorite Universal monster character? Like out of all the monsters?
Part of me wants to say Dracula because Dracula is my favorite of it, but I really like the Frankenstein, that whole story. So I might have to go with Frankenstein on this one.
It's very close.
I'd say as a franchise, Frankenstein, but
definitely
character Dracula for me.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Dracula too. But like I said, it's very close because Dracula's more evil and sadistic, and he's just a malevolent creature of the night. Whereas Frankenstein's monster is like a frightened child. Both a great character, but Dracula's a little more Freddy Krueger, and Frankenstein's monster is a little more like Jason or something.
Yeah.
They're both the different type of character, both great. But it's very close. I think I'll go with Dracula also.
Trash, look at the Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very Frankenstein monsterish.
Very much so.
It was something that I never really noticed that you could see parallels between. Like Jason is kind of a frightened child in the mind, and some people find him sympathetic. Michael, pure evil, just like Dracula. There's like these little parallels with them that I like.
I think Michael Myers is similar to, like I said, the Frankenstein monster in Ghost of Frankenstein, played by Lon Chaney Jr., and also Karras, the mummy Karras. I think it's like Michael Myers because he's silent and like stalks people slowly and like always catches up to you, and he's like he's really creepy and like emotionless, and you can't get away from him. And then I guess I don't know, the Wolfman would be like Leatherface, just because. Because I don't know, that's a stretch probably, but. I think Dracula's the most like Freddy probably.
Yeah,
and so is Imhotep, I guess.
So I know I'm kind of the fresh perspective on these, but I enjoyed it, and hopefully I didn't disappoint too bad with talking about these films. But
not at all. You did great, man.
Not at all.
Like getting a fresh perspective. All right, guys. Anything else you guys want to add about the Universal Classic Monsters before we get into Anthrax?
I will say you can't go wrong with the classics.
Absolutely.
Love these movies.
I'll say
these were my
childhood. Where would horror be without them?
For sure. So inspirational, so influential.
God,
and even if you don't enjoy these movies, if you find them too dated or whatever, you got to at least respect them.
Yeah.
And appreciate them for what they did for them.
I feel like you're not a real horror fan if you don't respect those classic movies,
I agree. Definitely, yeah. Well, those movies suck. They're old, Get out of here. Go back to watching Paranormal Activity Part 18.
Part 15, The Ghost Realm, or whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Or Amityville Shark.
Sharknado 4, Rise of the Bullshit.
Amityville Demon, I just took a dump.
Yeah.
5.
That's the scariest one yet.
Oh,
Sharkula.
Yeah. Oh my god. Sharkula versus Krakenstein.
oh,
You know what's going to
Shark
happen eventually.
Exorcist. That's one too, isn't it? Right.
Oh
The
my
Shark
gosh.
Exorcist.
There's a clown NATO too. It's a tornado full of clowns that kill people.
yeah.
Oh wow. I think Steven Spielberg directed that one, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah. You guys ready to discuss Anthrax?
Yes.
Oh yeah, they're part of the Big Four. And I talked to a lot of people say, "Oh, Anthrax shouldn't be in it. It should be this band or that band." I strongly disagree. I think they definitely belong there.
Nah, they
'Cause they're
definitely
awesome.
belong with number 4. Yeah.
Absolutely, they put on a great show. So Anthrax was formed by Scott Ian, the rhythm guitarist. Him and Dan Lilker, who also played guitar but then switched to bass later on. They recruited singer Neil Turbin and lead guitarist Dan Spitz and drummer Charlie Benante, and made up a great lineup. And then they released their debut, Fistful of Metal. So yeah, this is their first album, and I actually really like it. I think it's kind of underrated and kind of overlooked. I do really like Neil Turbin's voice. He hit those high notes. He was very akin to a Halford or a Dickinson.
Yeah.
He's awesome, and it was very metal. It was a very heavy album. Had some of my favorite Scott Ian riffs. Yeah, him and Dan Spitz. Their guitar playing is just immaculate. Yeah, Dan Lilker was a great bass player. This was the only studio album by Anthrax that he was on. And yeah, of course, Charlie Benante and him make up a great rhythm section. It is very raw and very kind of primitive in a way. It was their first, but I still really like it. I love Death Rider. I love metal thrashing mad. That song gets me pumped. Makes me want to headbang uncontrollably. Yeah, they did a cover of I'm 18 by Alice Cooper. Scott Ian didn't actually want to do it, and so Dan Spitz, I believe, recorded the rhythm guitar, either him or Dan Lilker or both. I don't know. Pretty sure it was Dan Spitz. And it's the only Anthrax song in existence that Scott Ian didn't perform on. Fun fact. He explained this in his autobiography, I'm the Man, which I forgot to grab, but whatever. I recommend that. It's a great book. And there's also Panic, Subjugator, Soldiers of Metal, hell yeah. Death from Above, the song Anthrax, Across the River,
Anthrax.
yeah, and Howling Furies, yeah. Great album, like I said, very, very underrated. It's produced by John Zazula, Johnny Z. The production's, very raw, like I said, but yeah, just aggressive and violent as hell.
What do you think of that
Very metal.
18 cover?
I kind of like it. I was a huge Alice Cooper fan growing up, and I think they do a pretty good job. I like the gang vocals during the chorus. That was kind of a staple of thrash metal, and I think it kind of sounded cool. It was kind of corny, I guess, but I think they did a decent job on it. It's nowhere near as good as the original chorus, but I kind of dig it for what it is. Kind of a cheesy way.
Yeah. Very strong debut. I really enjoyed the first riff on Death Rider is very just
Yes.
I love that riff.
Gets me pumped.
But yeah, like you said, Soldiers of Metal, Anthrax, Panic. It's just a really strong, underrated debut of an album because, when talking about Anthrax, usually you don't really hear this one come up a lot.
True.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of forgotten, and even I feel like even the band kind of almost disowned it. Scott Ian, they still play these songs from time to time. They still play Death Rider and Metal Thrashing Mad sometimes. I do I like when they play those, but Joey Belladonna does a good job on them, but yeah, it seems to kind of be like the lost Anthrax record now, you know, in a lot of ways.
But it's got that raw, like nasty thrash, you know, old school
Yeah.
thrash to it. Yeah.
Love that early '80s thrash sound. It's so sick.
I mean, look at that album cover. Like,
Yeah,
that's got that like underground thrash look to it. You know, look at it.
it's Scotty had pointed out that it's actually two left hands, I think, or two right hands. I think it's two left hands. But I guess you can just pretend that, you know, the guy holding him by the hair is a different person, the one punching him through the mouth. I don't know. But I think it's pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely appropriate for this type of music. I think the cover and the title, even though it's kind of more tongue in cheek, they had kind of more of a humorous approach to their sound, as opposed to, you know, bands like Slayer. You know, took it a little more seriously.
Well,
They kind of poked fun at it. It was almost kind of like a parody, but in a great way.
I think that's what a lot of people don't like, is that Anthrax is more of like a party thrash sometimes. Like, yeah, let's party. Where Slayer is more like, thank God.
Yeah.
But
I like
they're
them both
fun.
in different ways. You know, I like Anthrax's mosh metal, and then of course Slayer's more serious, more straightforward, you know, dark riffs.
But yeah, with this band, I kind of have a hard time figuring out what my favorite album is. Between these next two, they kind of
It's very close. Oh, before I forget, I want to show you guys what I got in the mail today. I've been wanting this for a long time. It's
nice.
Ronnie James Dio autograph.
Ooh,
Yeah.
sign.
I guess he signed it sometimes before he died. Yeah, rest in peace. He was my idol, one of my
That's
all-time
awesome.
heroes. He's my second favorite vocalist next to Rob Halford from Judas Priest. Yeah, he was just friggin' awesome.
Very cool.
Long live Dio. Yeah, I'm going to hang this on my wall after we're done here. And then
Hell yeah.
right next to Rob Zombie and Stan Lee and Linnea Quigley and my new Danielle Harris autograph. I don't know if you guys saw that or
Ooh,
not.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, NY Fancam 01, the YouTuber, sent me that in the mail recently.
Nice.
Yeah, so thank you once again.
I got a good one to show you guys too, quick.
Sure.
John Carpenter.
Oh, man. Oh, wow.
Nice, huh?
How much was that?
I don't know. My wife got it for me.
Oh, well, there you go.
Anniversary.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. I got to give me that. You got John Carpenter. I've got Rob Zombie's autograph. He definitely got me beat. I got the guy who did the inferior version of Halloween. Now, I'm still a huge Rob Zombie fan, you know, for all intents and purposes, especially the music. But yeah, that's really cool, Sean. Yeah. Anyway, anything else you guys want to add about Fistful of Metal?
Very strong debut.
Yeah.
One real quick question is, it's probably an obvious choice for some, but who has your favorite metal debut within the big four? Of course, you got Metallica with Kill 'Em All, so
That's
strong.
my favorite. Kill 'Em All is my favorite. And Show No Mercy comes very close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. Kill 'Em All.
I made a video about that. Big Four of thrash metal, part 1. I did a video about it. I looked at all the debut albums and compared them and ranked them and rated them and reviewed them. That was a while back. That was years ago. But yeah, my favorite is Kill 'Em All. What do you guys
Kill
think?
'Em All is just absolutely awesome from the get-go. It's like, you can't beat that.
Absolutely. What do you think, Horror Fan?
When it comes to metal debuts, I'll go with Bonded by Blood. I'm just kidding. I'm talking about Big Four. Yeah, I'll go with Kill 'Em All.
If all their albums were that good, then yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right, well, anyway, their sophomore effort was, of course, Spreading the Disease. This is probably my favorite Anthrax record. It's a close one between this one and another one we're going to look at. So they had a big lineup change. Dan Lilker was actually fired by Neil Turbin. They didn't get along, and so Charlie Benante's nephew Frank Bello replaced him on bass. Frank Bello is an awesome bass player. You don't hear him talked about a lot, but he's very, very, very good on the 4 strings. He just kills it. And but then we also, Neil Turbin was also kicked out. Scotty Ian and company didn't get along with him, and then they replaced him with Joey Belladonna, my favorite thrash metal vocalist. He is friggin' awesome. Now, most thrash metal bands have a singer who's more like not a technically like gifted singer with a wide vocal range. Usually they just have somebody really aggressive,
kind of growlish.
Yeah, rough. But Joey Belladonna is a clean metal vocalist. He's more akin to a Halford or a Dickinson, much like Neil Turbin. Though Neil Turbin had kind of a more typical thrash metal voice, I think, than Belladonna. Belladonna was more into like he wasn't really a metalhead. He was more into like classic rock and stuff. He has kind of a similar vocal range to like Steve Perry from Journey. So he kind of has that sort of sound, but I think it fits very well. And I think this is some of his best vocal work. He hits those high notes like it's nobody's business. He just kills it. He just rocks all across the board. We have AIR. Oh, love that opening riff. So memorable, so iconic. Some of my favorite Scotty Ian riffs are on here. And Dan Spitz's highly intricate leads and solos are freaking mind-blowing. Lone Justice, Madhouse, which is a radio favorite. That's
classic.
Yeah, that's one of their most popular songs. I love the music video for that and the insane asylum.
Love that.
Yeah, and then The Enemy, which is my favorite song of the album. He screams in the night. Whoa, it's such a cool song. Then you get Aftershock and Armed and Dangerous. Medusa.
That's written by Neil Turbin, I think.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, I think he did co-write some of the songs that appeared on this. I'm pretty sure it's kind of a Dave Mustaine with Metallica situation.
Yeah, he had a little bit left over or whatever.
Yeah. This one is also produced by Johnny Z. He was the executive producer, just like on Fistful of Metal. I guess it was Carl Kennedy. I don't know. And Anthrax.
Yeah, this album has a few firsts for me. It has the first Anthrax song I ever heard, which was, of course, Madhouse.
Mine too.
And it has the first Anthrax song I ever learned on guitar with Gung Ho. That freaking riff. I love that riff. But it actually, for me anyway, it took me a while to really warm up to Joey because unfortunately Anthrax wasn't in my rotation when I was younger, so I was more familiar with like the gruff Max Cavalera or Chuck Billy. So, but I like Joey.
Bushera was probably your generation.
So, yeah, but he's definitely a great singer.
He's phenomenal. He's my favorite thrash metal vocalist, and he's kind of like one of the most least popular in the big four. Yeah, everybody knows James Hetfield and Dan Mustaine, even Tom Araya, but Joey Belladonna he's hardly ever talked about. But I like singers who can actually sing, and he excels at that. Even though it's not a typical thrash metal voice, I think it fits. I think it's a great. I think it sounds awesome. Makes them unique.
And you might not think it would. But
yeah. Well, I feel like Chuck Billy from Testament's kind of like that, dude. He also does the rough, more harsh vocals and screams and stuff. Hell, sometimes he has almost like a death metal growl, but he can also sing, dude. He can hit high notes and have a more melodic, clean singing voice also. And I think it really works when he does that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love these guys. This would kind of be what was known as their classic lineup. This is like the lineup that everybody thinks of when they think of Anthrax.
Plus Medusa, that's a classic too.
Medusa.
Yep. What I like about Anthrax is that they're their own thing and that they are different than a lot of thrash bands that can be really fast, brutal, heavy. Is that they bring a fun element into it and you can have a good time with it. So
yeah, they had a great sense of humor and like you said, it's a sense of fun. They had songs about comic books, superheroes, and skateboarding, and mosh pits, and pizza parties. Just party. It's great for party music. They didn't take themselves as seriously as like Slayer and stuff. But I like that. I respect that. I made them different. They also dressed differently. They didn't wear a whole lot of leather and spikes and studs and stuff. They dressed kind of like surfers. Like really colorful and stuff. I think that fit with their music really well.
True.
But in the beginning, they had more of a typical Judas Priest look. I think that Neil Turbin had a lot to do with that, according to Scott Ian in his memoir. He said
They even had the song
wanted them to be-
Judas Priest.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Killer album. One of my favorite sophomore albums ever.
Yeah, excellent follow-up.
Yep, and something great about the Big Four is that their sophomore albums were all like hard hitters. Ride the Lightning, Weights, Spreading the Disease.
Cells. Yeah, they're all great. Yeah. Hello Waits. Yeah. Hello Waits, Peace Cells, Ride the Lightning, all great. And of course, Spreading the Disease. Yeah, all great albums. And all their third albums are really good too.
Yeah.
Their third albums are, well, for the case of Metallica, Anthrax, and Slayer, their third albums are what most people consider the best. With Megadeth, it's their fourth album, Rust in Peace. But, the other three, it's their third album, Master of Puppets, and, of course, Raining Blood, and, of course, Among the Living.
Yeah.
Anthrax's third album, and probably their most popular. This one has most of their biggest hits on it. Of course, talking about Among the Living, Caught in Mosh, I Am the Law, which is about Judge Dredd. Scott Ian was a huge comic book nerd, and he was really into horror movies too, which was cool. Then NFL, which is about
Gefessen.
Yeah. That was about Belushi, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, I think it was either Belushi or I'm pretty sure it was Belushi. Then Skeletons of the Closet. Indians is a cool song. Joey Belladonna has Native American heritage, and he would wear like a Native American headdress on stage when they would sing that song, which is really cool. And give a shout out to his Native American brothers. And then One World, ADI, Horror of It All, and Imitation of Life. Great album, front to back.
Skeleton in the Closet is an awesome opening.
Love that heavy chugging riff. Yeah, it always gets me pumped. And I love the way it starts out, Among the Living. That was the first Anthrax song I learned how to play on guitar. That's really fun to play.
Nice.
And Caught in a Mosh is a great song to throw on at a party or something,
Yeah.
I Am the Law is my favorite Anthrax song.
I Am the Law?
I love that song.
Good choice. I Am the Law.
Indians, the song Indians was another one of the first ones I heard, and it's another great riff, right after the duel. You get the dun dun.
I love that. That's my favorite Dan Spitz solo, I think. In Indians. Yeah, I love it. Cry for the Indians. Yeah, it's a great song. I think Dan Spitz is kind of an underrated lead guitarist as well,
True, yeah, you don't often hear about him in
when it comes to Anthrax. Yeah. It's also unusual for the rhythm guitarist to be the most popular member, but it is Scott Ian's band. When people think of Anthrax, they think of him. I mean, he pretty much is. He's the Anthrax guy.
He has that look too. The bald head and the beard,
shaved head and the goatee. Yeah, he actually didn't even have that yet. He actually had long hair
back then.
Yeah, and no facial hair usually. But yeah, it's a very 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 iconic look, like you said. I'm working on my own Scott Ian goatee as we speak. I don't know if it's going to look as good as his, but I guess we'll see. I'm not going to shave my head, though. Not again. Not anytime soon, anyway. Been there, done that. Is anybody watching? Do we have any viewers right now? It says we have one, but the chat is really quiet.
Watch, damn it.
I know. I've noticed
You
that.
doing?
Yeah, where you at? I noticed that in these streams, whenever we get to the second half of the show, when it's the metal band discussion, like people, everybody leaves, and the chat's not as active.
Yeah.
I think because pretty much all my viewers are horror fans, but not all of them are metalheads, sadly enough, And I wanted this channel to be equal parts horror and metal, like the name, but most of it's 90%, well, like 80% of it's horror because that's what that's what people want to see. Because
yeah, I guess not every horror
watching.
fan is a metal fan.
I always thought they kind of went together, but not as much as you would think. Most people, not everybody thinks so. But
yeah, I do notice that, like, a few hours later, like the playback, it'll get a lot more views, like 100 to 200. So,
yeah, people will watch the replay. Yeah,
Mhm.
but when it's current, yeah. Usually when we're talking about the band, like the chat's like dead.
Draw the people.
I
I'm just kidding.
I need more metalhead viewers.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, Among the Living, great album. This is most people's favorite. This was the first Anthrax album I ever bought, and I think I listened to it a whole lot. Yeah, back in high school, I would drive around blasting the cassette tape, and yeah, it was great. I still have that cassette too, actually. But yeah, great memories. But I don't think it's my favorite. Maybe at the time it was, but I think I do prefer Spreading the Disease, and I think there's one other one that I think is a little more of a personal favorite of mine now. But I can never get tired of these songs. I have heard them a lot, but they're great.
I think it's my favorite. I have to admit, it's my favorite. Yeah. Like
you said,
it's all the classics that they're known for.
It's kind of a similar situation with Number of the Beast. Number of the Beast, I just listened to ad nauseum. I listened to it so much that the songs have kind of lost all meaning. I've just heard it more than I've heard my own name.
I could see that.
Yeah, so it's kind of like it's hard for me to. But again, that could also be a testament to how great it is. But I don't know. I'll almost consider this about equal with Spreading the Disease, and then the other one that we're gonna get to here in a little bit. It's very close. You can't go wrong with any of them. It's kind of hard to pick a favorite anyway. Yeah. But I think if I had to pick, it probably would be the second one.
Mine too.
All right. Any closing thoughts on Among the Living?
Great album once again. Third time in a row.
Piece.
Absolutely. Thrasher piece.
Have you guys seen Anthrax live?
Yeah, I saw them with Slayer, their farewell tour in 2018. They put on a great show. I wish Dan Spitz could have been there, but the other four members of the classic lineup were there. I swear Joey Belladonna looked directly at me, made eye contact with me at one point because he walked to the left side of the stage. He's like, "Hey, what's going on over here?" And I swear he was looking right at me. He started like singing into the mic.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like he was looking at me. But
guys saw him twice with Belladonna and once with John Bush.
Oh, cool.
Back when they toured with Pantera.
Mm-hmm.
Back when they wanted to be Pantera.
When they wanted to be Pantera.
We'll get to that.
They had a dime bag on their album.
Yeah. And Phil Anselmo, too, I think. Didn't he do guest vocals on that song?
I think he did do backup vocals.
Yeah. We'll get to those. All right, so anyway, their fourth album was State of Euphoria. Now, this is probably my least favorite of the Joey Belladonna albums, but it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think I just like the others more. It does have Be All In Law, which is a great song and a concert staple. I think a lot of times they play that first. Yeah, that's a great riff too. That's really fun to play. That was one of the first, another one of the early Anthrax songs that I learned to play on guitar. Out of Sight, Out of Mind's a pretty good song. Make Me Laugh, of course. Their cover of Antisocial.
Yeah,
You're antisocial. Who Cares Wins. Now It's Dark is actually a favorite of mine. I think it's a pretty good song. Now it's dark. I can't see. Don't you look at me. And Schism, Misery Loves Company, 13, and Finale. Yeah, some pretty cool tracks here. But like I said, I just don't find myself listening to this one quite as much as the other three of the 80s and early 90s Belladonna fronted albums.
Mhm.
It's still pretty good.
yeah, I enjoy it.
Yeah, I like it.
I'm gonna
Pretty
have
heavy
to.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you, Hellhound, about it being kind of the lesser of the Joey Belladonna era, but still fun. I remember when I saw it in the movie theater and they played Antisocial during the rock fight scene. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
That was cool.
Well, the drumming on like Charlie Benante on Be All End All is great. Like he's such an underrated drummer. Like
He's very underrated. Yeah, him and his
like a
nephew
machine
Frank
on
Bello.
that song.
Yeah, him and Frank Bello are a great rhythm section. Yeah, Charlie Benante is Frank Bello's uncle, but they're really like close together in age.
Mhm.
Yeah, some great musicianship.
Absolutely.
They mesh really well together.
Yeah, definitely.
But Scott Ian and Charlie wanted them to do like other things. They felt like Joey wasn't progressing. I disagree. I think he's awesome, but like, yeah, Scott wanted them to get into like rap metal and like do other stuff. And just Joey just wasn't that type of singer, so it wasn't his fault. I mean, in fact, and I don't know. If anything, I think that maybe they should have got on his level a little bit, because instead of forcing him out of his comfort zone, because there were things he was really good at.
Like, how could you ask for a better singer? Like,
I know. Scott Ian wants rapping so much he can rap, and he does rap on "Bring the Noise."
Yeah,
their song with Public Enemy, and "I'm the Man." Yeah, him and Frank Bello rap back and forth.
yeah,
It was originally supposed to be they were supposed to do it with the Beastie Boys, but they did it themselves. It sounds like a Beastie Boys song. I actually like that song. It's funny.
I like it. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I like "I'm the Man." I wish they would have played that when I saw them. I'm the man.
I'll be completely 100%. I didn't really care for "I Am the Man." When I first heard that, I went, not really for me. It's just, I'm like, what is
this?
Your
face, I'm in your face.
Put you and your father back in place. I'm the man. I'm the man. I'm bad.
It's cool. It's
got some cool samples in there, like Master of Puppets.
Master. Yeah. I like how they just kind of had fun with it. They didn't take themselves seriously. Yeah, I kind of like "I'm the Man." I'm not big into rap, but I kind of like Beastie Boys. I like that kind of rap. So so I like that.
It's just how I explain it is, sometimes when you hear a band in a certain way and then you listen to something else, it's kind of jarring almost.
Yeah.
You kind of got to get used to it. For instance, like I compare it to, I used to listen to Celtic Frost and I listened to Two Megatherion. Then I listened to Cold Lake and went, what the heck?
Cherry Orchard. So commercial. So like poppy almost. Yeah. That's right up there with the Black Album and Risk when it comes to like big disappointments.
Yeah.
Metal. Cold Lake. Oh God. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Bring the Noise, but I do kind of like "I'm the Man." Public Enemy was cool, but I don't know, it didn't really sound like Anthrax to me. It just kind of sounded like them experimenting with something else. But Ian was obsessed with doing stuff like that, Him and Charlie wanted to do stuff like that, but Joey didn't really want to. I don't think I don't know about the rest of the band. But
That's
they
kind of
always
the
kinda wanted
sad
to do what
thing
was
is
cool
a
at the
lot of
time.
people, that's what they see when they think of them.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh,
'cause
they're the
Anthrax
guys that
kinda
did
did,
the rap metal song, you know?
yeah, I think Anthrax kinda did help start rap metal along with bands like Rage Against the Machine, you know?
Yeah.
That came, that came a little later, but, yeah, I don't know, like, it just yeah, a lot of people just think of Anthrax. That's what they think of when they think of Anthrax, is the rap stuff, and, yeah, that's what Scott Ian wanted to do, he always wanted to do what was cool at the time, like when 80s thrash metal was cool, that's what he wanted to do. But then in the 90s, when like rap and grunge and groove metal and
Yeah.
alternative
And
became
they
cool,
try
he
to
wanted to do
be
that.
like
They tried to be
alternative metal.
Pantera. Yeah, yeah. We'll get to that. But yeah, State of Euphoria. Great album. You guys have anything else you want to add?
Very good.
Yeah,
Very
I
good.
like it.
Solid.
But if I had to pick a least favorite, it would be that one. But that doesn't mean it's bad by any means. In fact, it's not bad at all. It's good. It's very good. Um, so next up, Persistence of Time, and this might be tied with Spreading the Disease for me. I love this album.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, Scott Ian wrote his autobiography that he didn't think Joey's vocals fit what he wanted. Scott Ian writes all the lyrics, by the way. He's the main lyricist, and he didn't think that, or he was during the Belladonna era anyway, and he didn't think that Joey's voice was the right fit. I couldn't disagree more. I think Joey
Like,
kills
what
it.
are you
I think
talking
he
about?
nailed it across the board. Yeah, he sounds awesome on this album. Yeah, I don't know what Scott was thinking, but whatever. Yeah, we have Time, Blood, Keep It in the Family, In My World, which is an awesome song. That's the song that they briefly played on that Married with Children episode.
Yeah.
Love that show. And I
Oh
love
yeah,
that
that's right.
episode.
They were on that.
Yeah.
Forgot.
Yeah, Gridlock, that's another good song, very underrated. Intro to Reality, Belly of the Beast, which is probably my favorite song of the album. I love that song. I love that opening riff. Dun, 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 dun. You walk this earth
Yeah.
without a heart. Great song. They played that when I saw them, and it was, oh man, it was phenomenal.
Nice.
Then, of course, the cover of Joe Jackson's "Got the Time," which is a pretty catchy tune. I like the music
Yeah.
video for that as well. Then I Hate Red, One Man Stands, and Discharge. Yeah, great album. Yeah, I love it. I have nothing bad to say about this album. This is the last one with Joey, and Scott Ian said, "Oh yeah, there was, you could definitely, if you listen to the album, you can hear the reason why it's Joey's." I don't hear it. I'm sorry, because I think Joey nailed it across the board. He sounded awesome here. And yeah, this is when Scott Ian started shaving his head all the time. And he even started growing a little soul patch that eventually became the.
Yep. The actual song, Keep It in the Family. I love how it starts off slow and then gets heavier and heavier and faster. Gridlock, Belly of the Beast. This is a great album.
Yeah.
And, when I heard it, I noticed Joey kind of sounded a little darker on this album,
He does.
Yeah.
He definitely does. Scott Ian had a lot of things going wrong in his life at the time. I think he was dealing with a divorce and like some other things, and so he was in a very dark place when he wrote the lyrics.
Mhm.
And I think Joey's vocals reflected that perfectly. I think they perfectly got the point across, but I guess Scott and Charlie didn't think so for whatever reason. But I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, Joey's voice, he sounded a little more disturbed, a little more like a tortured soul,
Mhm.
restless spirit or something.
Absolutely. But yeah, this is definitely one of their best. Maybe, I really don't hear a lot of people say this one's their favorite either, but I do hear praise for it.
Yeah.
But believe me, when I have something to say about the next one when we get to that one. Please.
Yeah, some of my favorite Scott Ian riffs and some more of my favorite Spitz solos, and Charlie Benante's drumming is great as well, and of course Joey Belladonna's singing is superb, just top notch. Awesome album.
Another banger.
Yeah.
As kids say.
So, okay. Now we have the sound of white noise with the John Bush era.
I'm
Now
curious
out of
what
the
you
John
guys.
Bush era, I kind of don't mind this album. I think it's okay.
Yeah,
Um, but when I first heard the song only, I was just like, "Are you trying to be Alice in Chains?" Like I love Alice in Chains, but it sounded like everything was perfect.
very grunge.
Yeah,
Yeah, so they kicked Joey out. And they got John Bush, who I like. He's a good vocalist. I like his stuff in Armored Saint.
yeah.
But he just kind of sounds like every other 90s vocalist to me. I mean, he's good, but I don't know. Like, he was just like another Hetfield or another Phil Anselmo. During the 90s, they really wanted to be Pantera. They wanted to be, like a groove metal band. They wanted to do the grunge alternative thing. And yeah, like you said, this very much sounds like an Alice in Chains record. Yeah, only the single. It's a good song, but yeah, it doesn't sound like an Anthrax I know and love. But out of all the John Bush albums, this one is my favorite. I think this one does sound the most like Anthrax, though they were just becoming something else. I kind of consider it a different band because
Yeah.
they weren't thrash metal anymore. Hell, they were barely metal. They kind of just ventured into more hard rock.
Had a totally different sound. Like,
Yeah, it was like too alternative. At least Dan Spitz was still there on this album, but yeah, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like Anthrax to me.
especially like Room for One More. That sounds
Yeah,
like straight up Pantera. Like,
yeah, big time. Yeah, even the riffs, like it was, yeah, the vocals. Yeah,
Black Lodge is very like Pearl Jam or
yeah,
STP or something.
body almost. Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it's very much like a grunge and like alternative rock album, which didn't have enough of those in the '90s. So
yeah. I mean, let's be honest here. Once the '90s hit, thrash was kind of like the least successful thing
thrash
because
was, yeah, it was like on its way out. Metal in general kind of died out in the '90s. Almost every metal band like tried to be something else or just disbanded. Of course,
yeah,
we have Metallica did became way more commercial and radio friendly too, and
Or
yeah,
they stay the same and became less popular, like Slayer or whatever.
yeah.
yeah.
I'm all for bands changing things up and wanting to, change their sound and branch out and keep it fresh, but I don't know, it's just not really my cup of tea, It's just the John Bush
Mhm.
fronted Anthrax. Again, I like John Bush, but it's just not Anthrax to me. It's another band. It just doesn't can't
Yeah,
compare with what came before. But it's all right. This is I think this is the most tolerable out of the
Yeah.
like I
yeah.
said.
For me, the '80s is the thrash. Once we get to the '90s, for me, that's when like the death metal really kicked off, and there was a lot
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
underground death metal. But I love Pantera. They're fantastic.
Absolutely.
Very,
They like their own thing,
yeah,
Yeah, a lot of metal bands wanted to be Pantera in the '90s, and Anthrax was no exception.
yeah.
The
I don't.
next one is the least tolerable for me.
I'll be right back, guys.
All right.
Yeah, don't start without me, because I got a lot to say about this next one.
Oh yeah. So, while we're waiting, when it comes to grunge, I've always loved Alice in Chains, but Nirvana's never really just hit for me personally. But I don't hate on
No,
anyone.
huh? Never got the Nirvana bug.
Nah. Like, yeah, sure, I respected it, and I get why people liked it, but something just about Alice in Chains hit a little bit more for me.
I actually like Stone Temple Pilots a lot.
Oh yeah,
I thought, like, I like their style. Like, sometimes they tried to be more like outside of grunge, like the Beatles almost in their music.
yeah,
Like on some of the stuff on like Purple and like almost like hippie-ish, like stoner stuff.
yeah.
But yeah, Alice in Chains is awesome. Like,
And I think, they still sound good today, even though, Lane has passed away. Jerry Cantrell's got a great voice, too.
Yeah.
A lot of
It's
people
like them
forget.
two, their voice together is like amazing. Like
So,
it's funny how like their mellow stuff is just as dark, like and gloomy and doomy as the heavy stuff, like
yeah.
Jar of Flies. What a great album!
I know. What would you think is probably their most played song? Would it be "Man in the Box" or would it be "Wood" from Dirt?
It's probably Wood. Yeah. That was played a lot on the radio.
That and probably Rooster too.
Yeah, that's true.
But
I still love those songs though.
yeah. My taste has evolved over the years. Like I like stuff like Crowbar. I think that they got some good stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. You don't really hear too much about Crowbar these days.
No. Heavy though. Definitely.
Yeah. I forget, they were like doom metal or something, I believe.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Kind of slow chugging, like.
Yeah. There's just so many different metal subgenres and then take off of subgenres, and it's just thrash, death, black, groove, grunge.
What do you think of Down?
Oh, yeah. I haven't heard Down in a while. I actually have one of their albums, but from what I remember, I like them.
I just like the first album. I didn't really like any of their other stuff. But that first album was great. Nola.
Oh, yeah. That was one of Phil and Selma's projects, right? Down.
Right.
Yeah. That and Super Joint Ritual and Scour. Oh.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. But, for the next Morbid Hour sometime in the future, I'd love to do, because, we've done the whole splitting the albums from certain singers, like Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath. I'd like to do Queensryche and just do the Jeff Tate.
Me too. Hell yeah.
All right, I'm back. Sorry.
Welcome back.
I agree. Alice in Chains was awesome. I like that way better than Nirvana. Always have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when it comes to the 90s rock bands, the grunge, all that, I love Alice in Chains and Soundgarden a lot better. And even Stone Temple Pilots better than Nirvana. I like Nirvana too, but I think I've heard them too much. I'm just kind of sick of them.
I was just saying that I really like Stone Temple Pilots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're great.
They're creative. Like they got stuff was like out there, like Purple and Tiny Music and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of those 90s rock bands had like similar vocals. Anthrax did the same thing with John Bush era. It's like, come on. Do something original.
But, I think everyone knows Stop 442 is next. So. Yeah.
What's that?
Stop 442.
Oh, yeah.
Killing me.
I don't know what my least favorite album is, either this or the next one, but either way, you can't, like, it doesn't matter. I don't like it. I just like them both pretty much equally.
Just look at the cover. That's garbage. Yeah. Like, what is this?
Yeah, that's a very fitting cover.
Garbage rolled up into a ball. That's what you get.
Is this where Dimebag started making guest appearances?
Yeah.
Even he couldn't save this movie. Yeah, This album's very forgettable to me. I don't even have like a single song memorized. I just don't care. I barely listen to it. It's not Anthrax to me. Dan Spitz was gone. I think they were just a 4-piece. I think Scott Ian was the only guitarist, and of course, yeah, Dimebag doing his guest appearances, and then I don't know, maybe they might have had a session guy. I don't even know. I guess Dime. They always said
I
Dime was
think
kind
Charlie
of like the unofficial.
Benante recorded the guitar.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. That's
Like,
right. Yeah,
he
he's a
actually
good guitarist too. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, he did do the guitar. You're right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He wrote the whole thing. Like, he wrote all the music
Yeah.
for them.
John Bush did co-write the lyrics with Scott, but I'm just not into it. It just doesn't sound like Anthrax to me. It's another band really, and it's just not really. It's just paint by numbers, groove metal, grunge, alternative. It just sounds like every other '90s rock band, and it's just not doesn't grab me. Yeah, Dan Spitz was gone, and it shows. It just wasn't the same band. It was just, I mean, I don't know. I know Scott's there, and he's the main guy. But really, when all the remains of the rhythm section, from all of my favorite albums, it's gonna sound like a different band, and
like less and
not
less
in a good
metal,
way.
you know.
Yeah, much. Yeah, they were not metal at all at this point. Yeah, barely. I mean, even with Dimebag doing some riffs and solos here and there, it still wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't know if Dimebag was on this one. He might have been on the next one and the one after that.
He's on both of them, yeah.
Yeah, he's on the next two, I think. I don't know if he was on this one or not.
He is on this one.
He's on this one.
King Size.
Yeah,
Riot Shotgun.
Oh yeah. You're right.
I know that he was on the.
Save it though.
Yeah, I know Dimebag was on the "We've Come for You" album on the "Strap It On" song.
Yeah, I knew he was on that, and I'm pretty sure he's on Volume 8 also. I wasn't sure. I barely listened to this. I've listened to it a few times, and each time just does not grab me. There's a few okay riffs and some good ideas here and there, but it's just not my cup of tea. I mean, I know some people probably love this album. This might even be their favorite Anthrax album, but to me, it's just not what I look for. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
it's the worst for me.
Yeah. For me, it's either this one or the next one.
It's like that thing where a band can go in, for you, the worst possible direction, but yet a majority is still going to love that album. Like, if Metallica released a country album, you'd have country fans being like, that's Metallica's best album, you just don't understand.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think Reload was almost like a country, what I call country metal. So, and Load even.
But I usually highlight favorite songs, and I don't have any for these next two. They were very forgettable as the record ended.
I couldn't even tell you which song is which, honestly. I've listened to it that little. I bought this CD, and I probably listened to it maybe twice, a song here and there. I couldn't even tell you. If somebody says, oh no, Nothing, that's a great song. That's an amazing song. Sure. I don't know. I can't tell them apart. They all run together for me. It's just very generic, very by the numbers, and very boring.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think my least favorite is Volume 8. The Threat is Real. That's probably my
real.
I just like these pretty much equally. I couldn't even tell you which one's better or worse because I've listened to them so little. But yeah, what I heard of this one, I just was not impressed. I was not impressed with Volume 8. The Threat is Real. You got that right.
I feel like at least on this one they tried to get back to like metal and stuff, like Cup of Joe.
Yeah, it was a little heavier than
Inside Out was kind of heavy.
Yeah, and Killing Box. Yeah, they did have Dimebag, and I think even Phil might have guest vocals. And I don't know. I'm so unfamiliar with the John Bush era. It's pathetic. But yeah, they were like basically a 4-piece at this point, and yeah, it just wasn't even a metal band anymore. Barely. Born Again Idiot.
I've listened to this album.
Wow, poster. Oh, awesome.
I've listened to this album a few times, and I just always find myself zoning out and not even realizing it. Like, I'll just be sitting there and be like,
that's not a good sign.
It bores me. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just so unfamiliar with it. I don't know. There might be a great song hidden on here somewhere. I barely listen to it, so I don't know. It just doesn't grab me. I just don't really care for what I hear. I mean, even for like groove metal, it just sounds generic to me. It just sounds like
Yeah.
I don't know, it just sounds very by the numbers.
Yeah, but
It's funny though. Some people love the John Bush stuff, or whatever.
Oh, I know. I have so
Some people
many
love the
friends
John
that
Bush stuff.
yeah, I have friends that swear by the John Bush era and say he's way better than Joey. And I'm just like, if you're not a metalhead, then I could see that. But it's weird to me that a thrash metal fan would say that when the John Bush era was clearly not thrash metal anymore. Barely. Outside of a few riffs here and there, they weren't very thrashy. They're barely even that heavy, really. But again, I'm very unfamiliar with it, so maybe someday I'll give it a fair chance. But I'm just not impressed with this era of the band.
And it all kind of comes around in the end because this last album with John Bush, I do think overall is an improvement.
I agree. I think this was way better than Stomp Forward 2 and We Come For You All. Stomp Forward 2 and Volume 8. Yeah, We Come For You All. It's probably just as good as Sound of White Noise, but I like this album because it has two great songs on it. What Doesn't Die, I love that solo, and Black Dahlia. I don't care for Save Home. I'm sorry, I know that's most people's favorite on this song. I don't care for it.
Strap It On. Strap It On.
I think Save Home is like too like sappy sounding and just I don't know. It's just, I know Scott Ian was really into that one, but they were a 5-piece again. They did have a full-time lead guitarist. Again, it was Rob Caggiano. He's pretty good. I prefer Dan Spitz, but I really love that solo in What Doesn't Die. It's like stream of consciousness flows into a river of blood. I like that, and it still sounds very groove metal. John Bush's vocals are very grungy, but I think Rob Caggiano's guitar playing made it a little heavier. And it does sound more like a metal album this time around. So, like I said, I think there's a big improvement of the last two. And maybe even on Sound of White Noise in some ways, As I think I've listened to this one the most when it comes to the John Bush era.
Yeah,
this
how
one
they
Sound
got
of White
Roger
Noise.
Daltrey in that song there.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think Dimebag and Phil did some guest appearances here too, if I'm not mistaken. I still can't. Dimebag was on this. Yeah, he played lead on 2 tracks. Yeah, they always said he was like an unofficial 6th member of the band, which is cool. Yeah, Roger Daltrey. Yeah, and then Charlie I think played some lead guitar on here too, and Scott Ian did as well, and acoustic guitar too. Charlie. This is the last full-length studio album to feature John Bush. However, there was this CD, this album, The Greater of Two Evils, and what this is
and they went on tour together, wasn't it? Like briefly with Joey.
Well, this is they had John Bush and they re-recorded Joey Belladonna and Neil Turbin era songs. John Bush's voice were not a good fit for these songs. Like these songs required high notes and like clean singing, not rough, grungy. It just doesn't. However, I will say that he does an okay job. Like if I hadn't already heard Joey and Neil's version, yeah, I might think so. I do kind of like the way he sings Belly of the Beast. Sorry. Not as good as Joey, of course, not even close. But yeah, he does okay on these songs. It's not terrible. When it comes to the John Bush era, I'd probably listen to this one more than the others, just because I love these songs. But they're better of the versions of them that exist, and that's with Joey or even Neil fronting the band, in my opinion. But yeah, Greater of the Two Evils, yeah, it's okay. I didn't really see the point, but whatever. Scott Ian really stood by John Bush as his vocalist for a while, and he just swore by him. Even though a lot of the fans, a lot of the original Anthrax fans didn't think so, but Scott sure did. Man.
So overall, I'm not really a big fan of when a band will re-record an album that's already good with a different singer because it takes me to when
Let there be
Exodus,
blood.
Like, yeah, I was gonna say Exodus.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
bonded by blood.
re-recorded Bonded by Blood.
Brought Dukes.
Yeah. But
It's kind of interesting to compare, but overall, like it's always a poorer version. It's always just like a cheap imitation to me, is what it comes across as, you know.
yep.
But I guess they do play the songs live, so whatever.
But wow, I think this next album was a surprise for me when it came out in 2011.
Yeah.
Worship Music. That album was
Worship Music.
yes.
I never thought
Yeah,
that would
reunion
happen,
album.
you know?
Yeah, so in 2005, Joey Belladonna and Dan Spitz returned to the band, and the classic lineup was back. But then, unfortunately, Joey left again, and John Bush came back briefly. Then they had another singer named Dan Nelson.
Yeah,
and I was just
that
like,
was
oh man, I'm just
really
done with
what
Anthrax.
was that, like 5 seconds?
Yeah, I was just like, man, I'm just not. I was like, I don't think I'm really a big Anthrax fan anymore. But then,
That's when it was
but
like,
the thing,
oh
but then
man, I think
Joey,
they're gonna die.
yeah, but then Joey came back, and he sounds great. The only problem with this album is a lot of these songs were written way before Joey was in the album. They were written when they had Dan Nelson and John Bush and even Corey Taylor from Slipknot and Stone Sour at one point in mind. These songs were already written, and like they didn't really have Joey's voice in mind. So it's almost like an album like several years in the making, like this melting pot of different like ideas and styles. So it does kind of feel like a jumbled together mess, like a Franken album, you know. But it's got some good songs on it. Yeah, the Devil You Know, Fight 'Em Till You Can't, the song Judas Priest. Some good songs. A great reunion album. It's definitely better than all the John Bush albums, in my opinion, at least. And a great return to form. And I think it is probably one of my favorite reunion albums. Though it would have been great if Dan Spitz could have came back. But oh well. They had Rob Caggiano again, who was on We've Come For You All. And he was a good fit for the band, I think.
Yeah.
It works.
I dug this album. The Devil You Know is super catchy and fun. Fight 'Em Till You Can't. I love the intro of that song with, you know, authorities in your area have reported that the dead have risen from the grave and are attacking the living.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yes. Oh man, it's so heavy.
Yeah.
Gets you so pumped. Yeah, there's definitely some gems on here for sure. But it definitely does. I think it does really show that it was, you know, written with other singers in mind, and Joey was just kind of almost like a last minute thing. But I'm so glad he came back, so I'll take it. But yeah, I really like it. I really do like it.
It was great to hear Joey back. Obviously, he had like a voice change. His voice was much like darker this more time around, but it still sounded
deeper. Yeah. He had kind of a deeper, kind of more like almost rasp, a little slight rasp a little bit. He didn't do the like the highs as much, but it works. I think it sounded great. And now whenever they do, I think the only John Bush song they do live with Joey is only, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe Save Home, maybe a couple others, but I think Joey actually does it really well. He actually sounds a lot like John Bush. So it's like, damn, he could do both, you know. He could do a lot with his voice. He has a much wider range than Bush, I think, you know. But I do still like John Bush. I love his stuff in Armored Saint, but it's Joey hands down for me, especially when it comes to Anthrax.
Yep.
It's funny when sometimes you hear him say that too, like, why couldn't I have sung these songs, you know? Like,
yeah, I know. He definitely could have.
Like when they talk about when he was fired or whatever.
Well, they wanted to be a groove metal band, and you know, maybe Joey couldn't have done that, you know, I don't know. But from what I hear on, you know, worship music, I think he definitely could have done it.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
All right. But you gotta love a good comeback album when a band for a long period of time switches it up. It may not be great, but then they come right back around, and you'd be like, there you go. I've missed you.
I know. Yeah, I felt the same way. I was like, man, I wish I could have seen that 2005 reunion tour, but then because then he left again. But then when it came back, I finally did get to see him, and it was well worth the wait. I was like, I gotta hurry and see them before they kick him out again.
Uh, this has been a fun discography ranking or discussion.
Yeah, yeah, this is great. Yeah,
I think we have officially done the big four now. Metallica, Megadeth.
yeah, yeah. You're right. Yeah, we did Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer already. So that's it for the big four. I'd love to do. Well, I'd like to do Exodus and Testament at some point, maybe when it comes to thrash metal, or maybe Sepultura or Creator. The thing is, though, those bands, I'm not really familiar with every single one of their albums. I'm familiar with most of them, especially with Exodus and Testament. But there's a few Creator albums I haven't really listened to a whole lot.
Oh,
Ditto with Sepultura. I've heard all the Max Cavalera stuff. That's all I care about when it comes to that band. But
with Sepultura, I think it was either their first album or an EP, but it was called Morbid Visions. Had like the devil holding a cross.
Yeah, they were death metal back then, pretty much.
Yeah.
And their second album, Schizophrenia, was very like death metal oriented too. Then with Beneath the Remains, I believe was the third one. Yeah, onward they were more thrash metal.
Yeah, but yeah, his voice on Morbid Visions, because I love the song Troops of Doom, which was also on Schizophrenia. But back then it was just like Troops of Doom. And I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from?
Yeah, he sounded evil as hell. Yeah, he had a great metal voice.
Yeah. Arise is one of my favorite metal albums ever.
Yes, I love Arise. Yeah, when it comes to my favorite Sepultura album, that's tough because I like Beneath the Remains and Chaos AD and Arise kind of almost equally. And I like Morbid Visions and Schizophrenia a lot too.
Yeah.
Roots is easily my least favorite of the Cavalera era. And then after he left, I don't even care. I don't even care about the other albums. So,
Yeah.
So,
welcome back. You guys ready to talk about their final or their most recent studio album?
For All Kings.
For All Kings. Yeah. Great title. Very fitting. I thought this was even better than Worship Music. I love this album. This album is awesome. Monster at the End and Breathing Lightning are phenomenal songs. I really like the way Joey sings on this album. I'm glad that Scott and Charlie and all them finally, accepted that he is the voice of Anthrax,
Yeah.
And he did an amazing job. It's just absolutely breathtaking. And he had such a wide range. He hit some high notes and some higher registers, and then the low too. Yeah, there's just nothing the guy can't do. He's just too damn talented. And the songwriting is really good on this album. Musicianship is superb. It's a great riff, solos, drum beats, bass lines, vocals, all of it. It's all great here. It's just all killer, no filler.
And it felt more natural because they wrote all the songs together,
Right, yeah, exactly. So,
with Joey.
Like that was kind of an issue I had with Worship Music. With this one, that's not the case. Evil Twins, another good song. The title track, Blood Eagle Wings, Zero Tolerance. Yeah, it's really great songs.
Good stuff.
I loved it. I think this is the best thing they've done since Persistence of Time.
Yeah.
What'd you think, Caravan?
Definitely another. Yeah, I already thought that Worship Music was a great comeback album, but this one is where it really felt like, oh, here they are. Anthrax is back. And you just kind of have a good feeling about it. And hopefully their next album is great too. I don't know when that ever going to happen.
But man, it's been a long time. It's 2016 that came out.
Yeah, I know. They take their time. They take their sweet time, just like Metallica.
Yeah.
Unlike Megadeth, who seems like they pump out a new album every
year.
Seems like, yeah.
But yeah, it's a great album. I really dig it. And when we decided to do Anthrax for the discography discussion, going back and listening to all of these, it kind of made me appreciate Anthrax a little bit more. I'm just kind of like, oh man, this is good. I like this. because I was more or less a casual Anthrax. Like I didn't hate them, I liked them. At the same time, I was not a part of that camp that said they shouldn't be in the Big Four. I was always like, well, why? They deserve to be in the Big Four.
I agree.
But yeah,
Well, they were the
Well,
most
like-
successful out of any of the other ones. You know? They were a lot more successful than like Testament or Exodus.
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, back when I was like 16, and they were like really popular, at that time. And they were doing great back then. And I got really obsessed with them at one point, and like I'd already listened to Metallica, Megadeth, and Slayer like ad nauseum. I'd already been a huge fan of them for years, but then there's a time where Anthrax was kind of like the one I listened to the most, just because I'd heard all the other bands so much, and like I really got into them. There's something about them that just made them unique among.
Yeah, they're different than the others.
Yeah.
Like you said, a more fun factor.
Yeah. Kind of underrated in a way, because, a lot of people who think they shouldn't be in the Big Four, I think there's a lot of overlooked gems.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you, anybody who doesn't want to go out and buy all the CDs, there's this anthology, No Hit Wonders compilations, like a greatest hits. It has a few songs that weren't on a studio album, like I'm the Man and Bring the Noise, and a few others. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And then as far as live albums go, there was this one, Music of Mass Destruction with John Bush. And yeah, he sings a lot of Joey era songs and isn't nearly as good. And then there's also a live 2. They had a few other live albums with Joey, but this is the only one I have. This is the only live Anthrax album I have with Joey. A live 2. This was during that 2005 reunion tour, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's killer. They put on a great concert. And then for the hell of it, I also got a few Anthrax DVDs.
Nice.
This one that's got their videos and then some live concert stuff. Yeah, Through Time, POV, Live Noise. And then this is the companion piece to that Alive 2 CD that I saw. This is the actual concert footage. So yeah, love me some Anthrax.
I thought what really brought it back for me was seeing them on the Big Four concert video. Like, I was like,
yes, that was sick.
Damn.
I loved when they all did
back,
Am I Evil? Yeah. That was so cool when they all did Am I Evil, but I wish Tom Araya could have like sang with them. I think the only Slayer member was Dave Lombardo.
And he was just on like the one drum or whatever. Like,
yeah,
wish Slayer had more of a presence in that.
Yeah, I know. But it's still cool though. The Big Four, yeah, that's awesome. I wish I could have seen that. Wow,
but their set like kicked ass. Like,
it's melting.
Oh no.
Yeah. Oh yeah. At least I got to see them with Slayer.
Yeah.
See 2 of the Big Four
together.
That big Megadeth in September.
Oh yeah, nice.
Yeah.
That's that Big Four concert where they all came together to play Am I Evil? That's like a legendary moment. But it also sucks that Joey got the most hate because had some people like, does he not know the lyrics?
I saw that in the YouTube. Some of the comments on the YouTube video. Yeah, people were making fun of him. It's like, get out of here. He sounds better than Dave Mustaine.
Oh, he sounded good.
Yeah, they're a great band. I might jam to some Anthrax tonight.
I was on the way back home. I was jamming.
Yeah. Yeah, the only album I have on vinyl by them is Persistence of Time. And it's it's like the anniversary edition or something. It's got like a bonus records, and it's got like several bonus tracks. Cool. It's got it's got a version of In My World where Scott Ian does the vocals, like the guide vocals. I guess he recorded it just so Joey'd get an idea what it sound like. It's like, Scott Ian gave Joey so much crap over, for not being what he's looking for that album. It's like, man, is this what you wanted it to sound like, Scott? Because it's not nearly as good as what Joey did. But whatever. Not afraid. I'm not afraid. Nothing touches me. Walking razor blade.
Remember the Attack of the Killer Bees or whatever?
Yeah. In Return of the Killer A's, yeah. I don't have either one of those. Yeah, the B sides and then compilations. Yeah, I don't have either of those.
Not missing much.
Yeah. Well, a lot of the songs on those already have, so.
But it's good that we rounded up. We did all the big four now, Thrash.
Yep. Ooh.
Yep, we did them all. Slayer, Metallica, Megadeth, and Anthrax. What band do you guys want to do next?
Queen's right.
All right.
It's like,
I'm only knowledgeable about maybe their first I don't know 5 or so, and then of course that EP, that Queensryche EP that they did, and then all the ones after that. I know a few songs here and there, but we can still do it.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I mentioned that because we've done it with Iron Maiden and Black Sabbath. We could just do the Jeff Tate stuff.
Right, yeah. We just did a segment of the discography with Sabbath and Maiden. Yeah, we could do that. There's even some of the Jeff Tate albums I'm not familiar with, like American Soldier, which I think that's what it's called.
Q2K and stuff.
Yeah. I wasn't big on that. But
Operation Mindcrime 2.
Yeah. And then, of course, that album that was pretty much just him and a brand new band.
Yeah, the Frequency Unknown. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the FUs on the cover.
Yep.
I think that's the only reason he did that, was just to say FU.
Probably.
I'm gonna use the band's name and screw you.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not quite as familiar with that part of their discography.
But yeah,
I wish Chris DeGarmo was still in the band.
I know.
Yeah. But go ahead.
I was gonna say he did come back for the Tribe album.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm cool with Queensryche. I'll have to do my homework a little bit, maybe on some of their stuff. But
I think the ones that I'm the most familiar with are the original Queensryche. I believe it was an EP from '83. The Warning, Rage for Order, Operation Mindcrime, and Empire. Me too. Yeah, those are the exact ones that I'm.
Plenty about that. So
yeah, we can talk about those 5. Yeah.
Also, at some point, I would like to do Fate No More.
I'd be cool with that. I don't know a lot of their stuff. I know songs. I know a lot of songs. I don't really know like from album to album. It'd be a little more difficult for me to look at every entry in their discography. But yeah, it's a good band. I like them a lot. Mike Patton is very talented.
Could do Exodus.
Yeah, Exodus would be great. We can do Queensryche next, but then the one after that, I'd love to do Exodus or Testament.
Yeah.
I'd love to do Judas Priest at some point. And that one we'd probably have to split it up too, because they have a lot of albums. Probably just have to do maybe other 70s and 80s stuff or something like that. Or maybe just the first 10 or first 8 or something.
With Faith No More, I feel like I'm familiar with one of the albums. It had a bird on it. I think it was Angel Dust.
Angel Dust, yeah.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that one, but I'd have to go back, check some of them out.
Is that the one with
Well, I highly recommend one if you guys have not listened to it yet. King for a Day.
Oh.
Highly, highly underrated. That's the one that came out after Angel Dust.
Oh, okay.
And it's
which is the one with Fall to Pieces on it?
That's epic. That's the real thing.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
That's the one with Epic and
Yeah, big. Yeah.
War
All their,
Pigs and
all their big hits. I love their cover of War Pigs. I
yeah.
love the way Mike Patton sings that.
hmm
Politicians hide themselves. um. I would love to do Merciful Fate.
Hmm.
And King
Just came
Diamond.
back. I guess he must have saw.
Yeah, finally.
Uh,
Oh man. Yeah, I would love to do King Diamond is one of my heroes. I would love to do Merciful Fate or King Diamond or both, Be cool to do like a Dio video and just do like all the albums he sang on with the different bands. We do Rainbow, Black Sabbath, Dio, Heaven and Hell, which is pretty much just Black Sabbath, and maybe even Elf.
Elf.
Do all just do all of his stuff. All the albums he was on. Maybe not all of his albums with the Dio band, but because that'd be a lot. But
Yeah. I have a suggestion for a future one. We could do all the Ozzy solo albums.
Yeah.
Blizzard
yeah,
of Oz.
that'd be cool
Good.
too. I
I
definitely
love
want
it.
to talk about Dio Sabbath too at one point.
hmm
You know, I mean that's only 4 studio albums, counting the Devil You Know under the Heaven and Hell moniker. So that'd be easy to do, unless we included some of his other bands, like I said. Um, trying to think of Creator would be cool. I'm not familiar with all their albums though. Like I said
I'm
earlier.
not as familiar with them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a tough one. My favorite thrash band is between Creator and Testament, but there's even some Creator albums I haven't really dove into.
Me too. Yeah. Testament would be cool. Most of all, Exodus.
Yeah.
When it comes to thrash metal, I think that'd be the main one I'd want to do. This is where I did the big 4. If there was a big 5, I think Exodus would be the 5th band, or in my opinion, at least.
I mean, Bonded by Blood is phenomenal.
Oh yeah, it's great. I really like
That's-
Tempo of the Damned a lot too.
Yeah.
And that was in the 2000s. That wasn't even in the 80s. So.
I actually like some of the stuff with Rob Duke, sort of.
I did too. I didn't think it was.
A lot of people don't.
I didn't think he was bad, really. It just because he wasn't Paul Bailoff or Steve Souza,
Yeah.
so people just weren't ready to accept him. And he did kind of have a typical, kind of a generic like nu metal voice, just kind of like another Phil Anselmo. But I think it was cool. I think it sounded kind of cool. I like his vocals, and
I actually like him.
and,
I don't really like Zetro Souza much.
oh
Honestly.
yeah, he kind of sounds like an evil Bon Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And some
I
of
like
the
Rob
lyrics with his stuff, I don't care
Yeah.
for, like a little bit.
well, most of that
corny
was written by
and-
Gary Holt. Most of that was written by Gary
Yeah.
Holt, probably. Yeah, I think he writes the most of the lyrics, at least in the Zetro era.
Yeah.
I
Have you
like Rob Dukes. I think he's underrated.
have you heard Exodus's newest album, Persona Non Grata?
A little bit. I've heard a couple
Heard a little
tracks from it. Yeah.
I was flat out shocked to hear Zetro actually doing some growls on that album. Like, I'm like,
Cool.
That's
He
He
pretty
did
changing
that a
the-
little bit on Tempo the Damned.
yeah.
But there's a song on the Force of Habit. Force of Habit. I think the song called "Good Day to Die," and he actually sings like clean vocals. It's like a southern rock song, but it's actually really kind of awesome. I actually really like it, and he doesn't do that kind of like that kind of nasally snarl type of voice on that, except for the chorus a little bit. I really like the way he sings on that. He should have did that more often. I think it sounded really awesome. I'm sure most metalheads probably hate it because it doesn't, it sounds too like southern rock or whatever. But I think it sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely down for Exodus.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think we should do Limp Bizkit next.
100%. There you go. I'm
Yeah.
down.
Yeah. Best band
$3 bill,
ever.
y'all.
Yeah. Yeah. Significant other. Yeah.
You just get to the give me something to break, and I just smash the camera against the wall.
Yeah, there you go. I might lose some viewers if we do that. if we do Limp Bizkit. Give me something to break. Okay, I'll break all their CDs. How's that?
Yeah.
You mean you don't want to talk about chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water?
Roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it.
That's terrible. Have you seen the new one they did? The dad vibes or whatever?
No.
The last thing I heard was I heard like a track from Gold Cobra or Golden Cobra or whatever.
Oh my god, that's terrible.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh.
Remember when they did the Behind the Blue Eyes? Or
Oh gosh, yeah. Oh man.
Oh.
They should be like incarcerated for that. You do not touch the Who, man, when you're freaking Fred Durst.
It just goes to show you, just because something's insanely popular at the time doesn't mean everyone's gonna love it.
You got that right.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, let's do Michael Bolton instead.
Michael Bolton started out as kind of a rocker, like a kind of a
Yeah,
glam
you're right.
rocker.
You know, like
Yeah,
some kind of metal album or something, or is that? I think that was him. It might have been somebody. It might have been somebody else. I don't know. Who knows?
What about Journey? We should.
Yeah.
Are you
Stop believing.
are you familiar with the band Goat Whore?
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
They're like black and thrash metal, and sometimes
Yeah.
black and death metal.
I'm not too familiar with them. Yeah, I've heard their stuff before. Yeah, I like what I've heard, but I'm not definitely not familiar enough to
Yeah, honestly.
valid review.
Do you hear Con Effects?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I used to call it deathcore or whatever.
Yeah. I like Entombed a lot. Well, I love their first two albums, and they did a few other ones that are okay. They became known as like Death and Roll.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So you don't care for Wolverine Blues?
Yeah. I kind of like Wolverine Blues, actually. I Master is a cool song.
Yeah.
Master, I will always be. It's a good song.
It's just that Left Hand Path is so awesome. That first album.
Left Hand Path and Clandestine, I think, are both great.
Yeah.
I would love to do Autopsy, maybe.
Yeah.
I only know the first album there.
Oh yeah, Severed Survival. They only have they don't have a whole lot. They have maybe 7 or 8 albums, I think. Maybe more by now. I don't know, but
yeah.
But they're one of the bands that like they came back and they actually sound really good now. And I like some of their newer stuff even better than some of their older stuff. Severed for Survival and Macabre Eternal were both great, but Mental Funeral, Severed Survival and Mental Funeral were their first two, and they were great. But then Macabre Eternal came years later, and that was awesome. And then there's Tourniquets, Hacksaws, and Graves, and then there's another one, Headless Ritual, maybe. I think that's what it's called. And they're great.
Yeah. I'd say a fun one to do would be Massacre, because the first album's great, but oh my god, that album Promise. What the
garbage. They only have 4 studio albums. There's From Beyond, which is a masterpiece, one of the best death metal albums ever. Promise is complete crap. I mean, that makes Limp Bizkit look good. That's that bad. And then there was Back From Beyond, which didn't have Cam Lee. They've had weird lineups, because like there was times where they had everybody but Cam Lee, and then times where it was just Cam Lee and whatever band he could find. It's weird. And then they had a new one either coming out or it's already out. I don't know. I'm kind of behind on that.
I think it's Resurgence 2021. So yeah, it's out.
Okay, so it's already out. Okay, yeah, I remember seeing the album cover. I haven't listened to it yet. Cam Lee's back, but I'm not sure what other band members they have, because it was usually Rick Ross and Bill Andrews and Terry Butler. But then that was my favorite. Like they're all in Death. They're all members of Death. Even Cam Lee was in an early version of Death. So I liked it when they had all of them.
One I would love to do, but I guess you guys aren't as into, is Fear Factory.
Oh yeah, I like them.
I like them, but I know a few songs. I couldn't do it justice if we did it album by album. I would just be pretty much phoning it in. I'm just not knowledgeable enough.
Yeah.
It would be too half-assed. I couldn't be honest about it. I'm just not knowledgeable enough. I like them when I hear them. I like them, but I couldn't tell you like what their best album is, or I don't even know any of the album titles really. I just know that when I hear them, it sounds good to me. But
yeah, I think the first time I ever heard Fear Factory was on the Mortal Kombat soundtrack back in the day. I think they had a song on there.
Yeah,
I think so.
But
they're on the Saw soundtrack.
Yeah.
First song.
Oh yeah.
We should do, in my opinion, the most underrated death metal band in history. There's no one like them. Nickelback. Oh man, they are heavy.
Darn right. I don't know why we haven't done them already.
Brutal, man. I can't handle it.
Yeah, it's a little too underground for me, but just too blasphemous,
Will we be losing our credibility if we talked about Slipknot? Probably.
Yeah, I'm really far behind when it comes to Slipknot. I'm just not really a big fan anymore. I loved them back in the day, but now I feel like I just kind of moved on. I feel like I just kind of
me too.
When I was younger and like more, and like angrier and more angst-ridden, I guess I like them. But now I feel like I'm just too old for that. Just constant,
That's true.
Yeah. I think the last full album I ever heard from Slipknot was Iowa. That was a good one.
Yeah. The last one I really listened to was Volume 3, Subliminal Verses, and then I had that live album, 9.0 live or whatever, and then I didn't really listen to anything after that. I heard a few different songs here and there. It just didn't grab me. I'm just not into that genre anymore. If people like it, that's cool. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm just going into I'm gonna kill everybody and I'm gonna break because I have daddy issues. It just doesn't appeal to me as an adult,
Oh man, I listened to an album the other day that I haven't heard in a long time. Soul Side Journey by Dark Throne, their death metal
Nice.
album.
Yeah, their
Oh,
first
that's-
album
Oh, I
Yeah.
love it.
before they became straight up black metal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a good album. Yeah, it's kind of sad that they disowned it.
Yeah. I still
Wow.
say Blaze in the Northern Sky is my favorite Dark Throne album.
Yeah, I like that. I like Transylvanian Hunger, Under a Funeral Moon. Panzerfoster's pretty good too.
Yeah.
I've heard some good stuff from like their newer stuff, but it's very different. It's more crust punk mixed with it. It's very different. They've had an interesting career.
Yeah. I showed one of my buddies Transylvanian Hunger. He was
Yeah.
not down with it. He's like, "Was that recorded on a potato?"
That's the whole point.
That's the whole thing with black metal, isn't it?
If it's not recorded on a potato, then it's too mainstream for me. But yeah, black metal is definitely an acquired taste. A lot of people have a hard time getting into it. It took me a while too. And when I first heard it, I was like, I'm not ready for this. It took me a long time to. And even now,
I haven't really gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, I kind of have to be in a certain mood, but for
Yeah.
some black metal bands, I would recommend for like entry level, like gateway bands that people probably would like, especially if they're into death metal.
Dissection?
They're a little better, huh?
Dissection.
Yeah, I was just about to say Dissection, Marduk, Emperor, Bathory.
I
liked Emperor.
Yeah. I'd even say Dark Funeral, Carpathian Forest. Or just a little more like easier to listen to than say Mayhem or old school Dark Throne or Burzum.
Yeah.
Yeah, or even Immortal. But yeah, I like it all. But I think those other bands I just mentioned might have been. Even then, I kind of have to be in a certain mood nowadays, even for that. But some of it goes dull.
Like
Emperor and Dissection
and my metal.
Fair
like
enough.
Technical stuff and
more musical.
just-
So yeah, I totally get that. The buzzsaw guitars and the crappy production.
And when I showed him that, he was just like, "What's the difference in vocals? Death metal sounds like black metal." I'm like, death metal's more black metal's more.
Yeah, death metal is more of like a low guttural growl. Black metal is more of like a high pitched, raspy shriek or hiss. It's more like screeches. It's more death metal is more growls. Black metal is more raspy screeches. And crappy production
and more technical and black metal.
Yeah, a lot of black metal albums. Go ahead.
Yeah. But black metal's certainly more evil and satanic and stuff.
Definitely. More blasphemous, more sacrilegious.
Yeah.
And, the makeup and everything's pretty. That's pretty sick though. The way they look though. With
corpse paint. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the metal spikes and all the.
Yeah.
Yeah. Black metal's cool, but a lot of people don't like the fans of it. Like, you gotta be like, "Oh, you listen to Metallica." Ugh.
Yeah, you're not Cavilt enough. Yeah, yeah. People like that are obnoxious. I remember I had a friend who was really getting into black metal, and I was in this band. We were kind of like a thrash metal, like a revival thrash band, and he's like, "Oh, cool! You guys need some corpse paint, and some bullet belts, and some studded leather, and some spike bracelets." And I was like, "I'm sure you guys have a lot of cool black metal stuff going on." I was like, "Dude, we're not a black metal band." And then he was like, "You should listen to my band. We're black metal." And I listened to it. I was like, "Oh, yeah, it's pretty wicked, man." He's like, "We're not wicked. We're Cavilt." I was like, "Oh, God, you are such a poser, man." People like that get on my nerves.
Yeah.
Ugh. So, yeah, it was a great show. Thank everybody for joining me on the Morbid Hour here on the Horror Metal Channel. I'm Hellhound.
Horror Fan 88.
Sean Erschen.
Until next time. Later.
Have a good one.
Another long one.
Yeah, it was. You
Peace
guys have
out,
a good
guys.
night. Peace.
You too, man. Have a nice weekend.